This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Partly cloudy and 17 with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Hit. Car scuffle driving to work? Contact FIVEaa Panel Services, RAA approved crash repairer.
Parents will be able to book their children in for a COVID vaccine from today. Australia's drug regulator and expert immunisation panels approve FIVEaa and Moderna for use in kids over 12. It comes as more young people are catching the Delta variant, with some needing hospital treatment. Slight new freedoms are now in place for Sydney's fully vaccinated adults. Sydney residents outside of hotspots can now gather in groups of 5 outside, albeit within 5 k's of home, and wearing a mask. New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian says there's also an easing of rules for those in the dozen hotspot LGAs.
Local government areas of concern, it remains you exercise within your household or with one other person, so 2 maximum. However, in areas outside of local government area of concern, 5 people are able to come together, 5 adults, and that excludes children under 12.
The ballot for the latest round of Great State vouchers opens at 9 this morning. The focus is on tours and experiences with $100 and $200 vouchers on offer. SA Tourism Chief Rod Harricks says the previous rounds have been hugely successful.
We've had over $60 million basically stimulated through this program, in excess of 117,000 vouchers issued. The take-up has been phenomenal. South Australians are getting out and about to areas and parts of South Australia they've never been to.
Another round opens next Monday with a focus on accommodation. A man was airlifted to the RAH yesterday after falling about 20 metres down a waterfall at Mannum. Emergency crews were called to the upper waterfall on Cascade Road where they stabilised the 34-year-old. He was then winched to safety by the MedStar helicopter and taken to hospital. His injuries are not life-threatening. It's the eve of the first hearing of the civil suit against Prince Andrew in New York, and it's still unclear how the royal family will tackle the explosive allegations. More from Nine's Michael Genovese.
The case against Prince Andrew was filed in a New York court. American Virginia Giuffre, who now lives in Queensland, says she was brought to the UK as a 17-year-old to have sex with the prince. He vehemently denies the claims. There's now debate over whether Prince Andrew has even been served the required legal papers. That'll be the focus of tomorrow's pre-trial hearing.
Now turning to FIVEaa Sport.
Save up to $800 on selected Asco washer dryer packages. Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Aussie Daniel Ricciardo has celebrated his first Formula One victory in 3 years with a trademark shoey on the Italian Grand Prix podium. He finished ahead of teammate Lando Norris and Valtteri Bottas in Monza. Ricciardo says it's a massive relief to break his drought after a tough season with McLaren.
Not just saying it today because today I'm on a high, and I'm not saying it to make it seem bigger than it is, but it has been, definitely there's been days where it's been the most challenging of my career to date.
Title rivals Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton both failed to finish after a collision between the pair. Well, Port Adelaide's players will begin the fallout from a disappointing finish to their season today at Alberton. The Power was smashed by 71 points at home by the Bulldogs on Saturday night. Meantime, Dane Zorko has won the Brisbane Player of the Season last night. It's the 5th time Zorko has won the Merritt Murray Medal. Well, the US Open men's final has just started, and it's been a great start for the challenger, Daniil Medvedev, with an early break of serve in the first set. Earlier, Sam Stosur added another Grand Slam to her name as she took out the women's doubles crown with Chinese partner Zheng Shui. And Australian wheelchair tennis great Dylan Alcott has completed the Golden Slam, winning the US Open quad singles title. And one game in the English Premier League overnight with Liverpool 3-0 winners against a 10-man Leeds. The result lifts the Reds up to 3rd spot. And that's the FIVEaa Sport.
Now to the weather.
Head to Foodland, Drake's or IGA for Nutrimate, a new dog roll loaded with healthy nutrients.
Partly cloudy, 17 today, more of the same tomorrow, then partly cloudy Wednesday, 21 up to 26 on Thursday, and then showers for Friday, 22. At the moment, 4. More news as it happens on FIVEaa.
Don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to FIVEaa Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Monday on 5AA Breakfast. Coming up on the program this morning, we're off to the US before 7 o'clock. David Woywald will join us from Channel 7. Then after 7 today, Premier Stephen Marshall will be on the program. We'll talk to you about him shortly and in the context of the news headlines as well. Yesterday confirmed that South Australia in lockstep with the national approach to ending border restrictions and lockdowns. We'll be doing that in depth, and we'll chat with him about it after 7:30 today. David Koch will be on the show, the host of Channel 7's Sunrise program. He'll be cutting something of a forlorn figure, I imagine, this morning, Koshy. Perhaps in the end, the small mercy was he wasn't allowed in to see it. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Yeah, I think that's one football match that the chairman of the Port Adelaide Football Club won't have missed too much. Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. Commiserations to Port supporters. I've got to say, I did not see that coming at all.
No one saw it coming.
Would have put my house on Port winning on Saturday night. And I tell you, there's no worse feeling. And actually, I was actually talking to Kate about this at home. What is a worse feeling? Losing the way the Crows did in 2017 or losing the way Port did Saturday night? Because they're actually very similar performances. Where it looked like it was all above the shoulders what went wrong for Port. They just went out there and just totally froze.
The further you go, the more it hurts, I think.
Yeah.
It's just the stakes are higher. You dream of something bigger. The worst is when you expect. But everyone was looking past this weekend for Port Adelaide.
Oh, how many people? There'd be people listening now who have spent thousands and thousands of dollars to get to Perth.
Yeah, and I don't think that was...
That's not arrogance.
It was based on...
Well, you got to prepare for things like that.
It was based on the available evidence. Now, some of the evidence may have proven to be faulty, and Exhibit A was the Geelong Football Club.
Yes.
A lot of stake was placed in the quality of that victory, and unfortunately, on reflection, once we saw what happened on Friday night when Melbourne played them, the reality was they're just not, at this point of the season, against the best side, they're just not quality.
No.
They're not. It just wasn't as good a win as we were led to believe at the time, and it was a bit of a false marker of where Port were at, because the Bulldogs just looked like they were a class above. And it does feel like now we're going to get we've got the two best sides in the competition who will play off in the grand final. They were the top two for 16 of the 20 of the 22 weeks. So they have had a period of excellence. The Bulldogs obviously had some injuries late in the year that derailed them a little bit, but crikey, they looked irresistible.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm sure Koshy would have actually wanted to have been there.
Yep.
Because you want to be there for the tough times as well. That's actually more important in a way when you hold a job like the one that he does, than when you're there for the good times. You know, to be there to hold everyone together. I got to say, the worst thing I've ever attended in my life, easily,
say here.
The post grand final after party in 2017 when I went along in my official capacity as Kate's handbag. All the board members were there. All the players were there. It was like, think of the worst funeral you've ever been to, and times it by 5. It was utterly funereal. I went along in 2006 as well to the Sydney Swans after party being in inverted commas. That was when West Coast got their revenge and beat them, and that was the night when at the convention centre in Melbourne, when Barry Hall stood on stage with his head down and didn't look at anyone, didn't talk to anyone all night, and then when the Swans got back to Sydney, he disappeared up the Central Coast for like 3 weeks and no one knew where he was.
Yeah.
He's hiding at his mum's house. One of our reporters, a young sports reporter, found him, and he wasn't happy that he'd been found.
I could imagine.
Barry Hall. This 20-year-old, Mr. Hall, just want to get a few comments about how you're dealing with the loss.
Did you send off this poor young journo on this potentially life-ending errand?
Not directly, but I did tell the sports editor, hey, we got to find Hawley. This is, the guy, he's like the Brazilian goalkeeper, and after the loss to Uruguay, he's become a total recluse. But that Swans thing, that was equal the worst thing I've ever been to. But it's just, why does it matter so much in our minds?
Because the
evil,
potential for it being great is as great as it is repeatedly bad. In fact, it's better. The potential benefit, if you buy into how bad it gets, you know that one day it might be the ultimate thing, and it's better than any. It makes up for every bad moment you've had.
Yeah, well, this is true, and like if you can remember this far back, I can describe every minute of the last quarter of the 97 grand final. I can tell you where I was sitting. I can tell you who I was with. I was with my parents. I was with Bill Schmidt, who'd come over from over the road at Mum and Dad's at Mitchell Park. It was my late grandma's 80th birthday. We had her party that night down the road at the Mitchell Park Football Club. Mum's one of 9 kids. And, you know, families are always, you know, got different issues and what have you. That night, because the entire family are Crow supporters, almost the entire family are Crow supporters. My late Uncle Fred, apologies to you, Port supporter. But it was just the most joyful night.
Yeah, that's why. That's why. That's why we allow it to matter.
And everyone was 15 minutes late to the party because the moment Channel 7 stopped playing the live version of the game, they replayed it.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yep.
And we just sat there, watching it again, watching every minute of it again.
Sport is great because it can at the same time mean absolutely everything. And in reality, you don't walk away having lost a family member or an arm or your capacity to pay your bills. You know.
Yeah.
But true. it can matter. It can mean absolutely everything. But then you can get back on with life. You can just take a little while. Well, a few texts coming through on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. Mark from Glenside says, lads, what a wonderful weekend. Big bouquet to the SA Health for finally allowing the doggies to train on Adelaide Oval.
I reckon that actually gave an extra 1%
without a
to
doubt.
The Bulldogs.
Without a doubt.
Beveridge would have gone, stuff this for a joke.
This whole state's against us.
Yeah.
Even their health department is trying to make life difficult for us.
Totally.
Rob says a lesson from the past weekend's footy finals not learned by Geelong and some good advice for the Dogs in the upcoming grand final. Rookie list Dan Andrews and play him. He's the only one that's proven to be capable of shutting down Melbourne. Thank you for that, Rob. Fred says Powers' prelim loss for me being a Crow supporter was like winning a showdown. I went to Henley Square at just before halftime to get some food, and so we're listening to Tim Ginniver and David Wildy and Treaders with the call, driving in the car, and I think Port had just kicked it. They may have kicked 2 in a row, one of the few times they did all night.
In the third quarter? At the start of the third?
Maybe it was the start of the third. I can't remember exactly when it was, but we'd gone. The game felt like it was, oh, hang on, Port might be here with the show here. Got out of the car and were walking past Henley Square. The Ramsgate was packed, and as we got out of the car, I heard the entire place erupt in cheer, and I thought, oh, wow, Port have kicked another one. It wasn't the case.
No.
All the Port fans, I think, were at home or at the ground or with loved ones.
So these are bloody Crows fans.
The pub was just entirely filled, I think, with Crows fans. It was on every television screen. It was blaring you could hear the commentary in the street.
Yeah.
It was like a grand final party, but it was just...
Some people might say that's cruel and demented. All I would say, though, is that it's exactly the same thing that happened in 2017. How many Port people went, well, look, we've got to get behind the Crows because, after all, we are all South Australians.
Yeah, no, and no one would want that. No, listen, and you can't go...
That's not the way things work here in South Australia.
And you can't ever say, how good's the showdown? Don't we love a good footy rivalry? And then when it starts to look like a rivalry, you recoil. Like, you can't have it both ways.
Totally.
So anyway, it didn't. Trust me.
I lived that ethos only a few weeks ago when I embarrassed my wife in the members' enclosure at the showdown. Don't know how those drinks fell over in the final minute of the game when Port at the front.
14 minutes after 6. Our number is 8223 0000. You can text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. We'll talk more about the footy with Koshy after 8:30 today. We'll have news headlines for you in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Lawrence. I was angry when my mattress sagged and was just a year old, and no one told me it was just a slab of foam inside. Then I got a Sleeping Duck. To see the Sleeping Duck and its Indestruct springs take on a 15-ton steam roller, check out mattresstesting.com.
Shh. Can you hear that? Hang on. Here it comes. The new Kia Niro has landed. Available as a hybrid, plug-in hybrid and full electric. It's Australia's broadest electric SUV range, and they're all available for immediate delivery. Technology moves fast. Meet 3 ways to catch up. The new Kia Niro electric SUV range. Check with your local Kia dealer for details.
Kia. Movement that inspires.
Now, you might think it's hard to get excited about shelving, but not when you're talking about Sharman Shelving.
No, that's right. Any time is a good time to get in touch with Sharman Shelving and to get your workshop fitted out.
That's right. From workbenches, shelving, cabinets, tool trolleys, open-angle shelving, stainless steel benches, steel cupboards, even van and cool room shelving, Sharman Shelving can literally do anything, including made to measure.
They truly can. You can do what I did. You can wander in there and say good day to Bill and the gang, and take in a rudimentary drawing on the back of a beer coaster, and they can say, yeah, we do one of them. In fact, we might already have one out the back. Jump on their website, take a look, visit the Facebook page. You'll be blown away with what the team at Sharman Shelving can do, and they make the whole process so easy.
So if you're in business, Sharman Shelving should be your first go-to for a workshop fit out. The possibilities are endless. Ask Christine or Bill for a free measure and quote. Jump online at sharmanshelving.com.au or call into 412 North East Road, Windsor Gardens.
Participate in a clinical trial and forge the future of modern medicine. A potential treatment for dementia is being trialled at CMAX in the Adelaide CBD. The trial requires healthy adults aged 18 to 65 to stay at the facility for 7 consecutive nights. All eligible participants are paid for their time. Sign up for CM5421 at cmax.com.au. That's cmax.com.au. There's no blueprints to your new custom-built Beechwood home. Well, not yet anyway. But together with Beechwood, it won't take long to turn your ideas into sketches, then drawings, and finally a home you can live a beautiful life in. That's the really exciting thing about building with Beechwood Homes. They'll build the home you want. So collect your thoughts, your ideas, your Pinterest boards, whatever, and let's talk. Because life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
For verandas, sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
17 minutes after 6, news headlines on this Monday morning. From today, anyone aged over 12 can book in for a FIVEaa vaccination in South Australia, including those over 60 years old. 60,000 new appointments are being added this week as more supply comes online. I was just perusing, David, before we came on air, the latest data out of the weekend. South Australia currently 59.1% of people have had a first dose, 40.4% a second dose, which puts us ahead of Queensland and WA, but behind, just having a look, everyone else at this point in time. New South Wales, 78.5% first dose, 56.2% second dose, who are today about to have picnic day that we'll talk more about after 7 o'clock.
Picnic day.
Picnic day.
I wonder if the system's going to hold up this morning for bookings. Because I've set a reminder, because Jimbo's 16, 15, mad keen. He's mad keen. His mum's mad keen. I'm mad keen. We had a good chat last night, me and my ex. Hate that word because we still got on quite well. But I was talking and I said, do you want to book it or should I book it? I said, I'm happy to book it. I've got the perfect reminder. The show finishes at 9 a.m. I'll drop everything and just go like mad on my iPhone to get Jimbo in at the Wayville Showgrounds. And she said, you know what's good? We're not having a discussion about whether we should do this. We're just doing this. Yeah. And I said, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, not an argument.
And we've got to get those numbers up. But this is, I think, almost every parent in the state is going to be going, you beauty, because, you don't want your kids to get sick.
Bit of news that's transpiring as we speak. There's a burst water main on Fullerton Road at Mitcham. SA Water on the scene. Fullerton Road has been closed to all traffic with diversions in place at Blythewood Road and Kitchener Street. Repairs may take up to a few days. Please take an alternate route. They're really putting their
foot to the floor on that one.
That one's SAPOL have just issued that advice. I've never seen repairs may take a few days before.
Is that SAPOL having a quiet dig at SA Water there?
I'm not sure. Maybe that's what they've been advised.
Based on their usual sluggish efforts.
Yeah, it should be sorted all out by next Sunday.
That's right.
About 3,500 SA tourism, hospitality and other businesses are set for a new $15 million COVID relief package. 2 new COVID support programs will be announced today by Federal Treasurer Josh Frydenberg and Premier Stephen Marshall. Grants of $10,000 will be available for business with an annual turnover of more than $2 million. A man fell nearly 20 metres at waterfall at Madam yesterday afternoon. The 34-year-old was winched to safety by the MedStar helicopter after emergency crews were called to the upper waterfall on Cascade Road. He was airlifted to the RAR and his injuries are not life-threatening.
20 metres?
It's a long, long way.
I've never been to that waterfall. Kate says because she grew up in Madam, that was all the rage. All the kids used to go there. Apparently it's a beautiful spot. It's out of town, a fair way, a reasonable way out of town. Have you been there?
No, I haven't. No, and I just find it difficult to imagine anywhere you go in Australia that's a waterfall or a sightseeing opportunity tends to be, they make it kind of hard to fall down.
Yeah, well...
Usually things are very protected, but maybe this one's not.
How do you fall 20 metres and not injure yourself?
That's the remarkable part of the story. There's no doubt about it. A fifth round of the popular Great State vouchers will be on offer within hours. The ballot opens from 9 this morning with $100 and $200 vouchers up for grabs. This round's vouchers will focus on experiences and tours. Gee, there's going to be a lot of people refreshing their computers at 9 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, I'll say.
The UK government is scrapping the idea of vaccine passports for nightclubs and large events. UK events operators had feared the scheme would expose them to legal action for discrimination. UK Health Secretary Sajid Javid says the vaccine passports will be scrapped.
Many countries at the time they implemented it was to try and boost their vaccination rates, and that you can understand why they might have done that. We've been very successful with our vaccination rates so far. Obviously, there's more to do.
New technology is being hailed as a game changer for melanoma patients. 3D body scanning machines were used as part of a 5-year study in Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland, designed to improve skin cancer diagnosis. Australian Cancer Research Foundation's Dr. Ian Brown says the new technology will allow experts to investigate moles and lesions, which could be a problem.
A doctor or dermatologist can then look at that particular image and see whether there are any particular lesions or moles which are of concern, and then be able to recommend those for further treatment.
That's good news for Australians, given how prevalent skin cancer is.
Absolutely. The capacity for machine learning to help in these kind of areas too is quite phenomenal. They did a presentation at Adelaide Uni a while back about the stuff they're doing at Lot 14. A lot of it's in medical care, where they'll say, here's a picture of a person who is about to die. Here's a picture of their chest x-ray. Here's another one. Here's another one. Let's do that a million times. What can the computer tell us about this similar about all these pictures? There's things that the computers can analyse and see that the human being can't.
Yeah, right.
And for example, there is, and they're just beginning to apply this sort of technology in a ways, mass data gathering and the way computers interpret it, the sort of things we can learn from it. And one of them, they sometimes it comes up with results they can't explain. Pictures of an eye that optometrists can't tell you the gender of the human being involved. A computer can now, and they don't know how it knows that, but it has.
Seriously?
It has, just by looking at millions upon millions of them. And when they look and go into the program and say, well, what part of the eye are you getting that information for? It points it apart, and they go, we have no idea what it's looking at. But it's seeing something in just seeing millions and millions of versions. So it's this idea that
so there must be some identifying feature.
That's right.
That you can only identify as a human if you'd seen it that many times.
Exactly right. So, but the other
Does this
side
lead into discussions, though, Will, about at what point do the computers go, geez, these people aren't very bright. We can do a better job running the planet than they are.
It's becoming close, except I'll tell you the counter story that a heart doctor said. They then went, well, hang on, how else can we use it? And they started using it on people's chest x-rays. Can a computer tell when a person's more likely to die? And guess what? It turned out it became very successful at saying that person's not going to live much longer and that one is. And they thought, well, how the hell's that? When they asked the program to say, well, point to the part of the body you're looking at, it turned out what the computer was able to pick up was the people that had respirators installed, because there were people in ED departments who they'd photographed, and they realised that people that were on ventilation or on respirators had a lower survival rate than those were in for more minor ailments.
Really?
So in fact, it wasn't determining people's likelihood of living based on some other wonderfully scientific formula. It just knew if there was the prevalence of some sort of mass in a throat, it generally meant they were probably on their way out.
Yeah, right. Which
so
isn't exactly...
it's fallible.
I'll see you a computer and raise you a robot. I read a great story a few weeks ago about this Japanese so-called comfort robot. Don't get the wrong idea about that. Not that kind of weird and aberrant activity. This was a robot that had been designed to become a companion for people in aged care. And it was off to a cracking start. It could remember people's names. It would say hello. It would do basic chores. But then after a while, it just totally lost interest, and it would just walk into the old folks' home and just not say hello to anyone and sit in the corner and not respond to them at all.
Is that right?
It was made by the Honda Corporation. And the article was written in this really sneering way about this useless leaner robot that would basically just walk around this aged care home wanting to be serviced and, tended to by the people who are meant to be operating it, but not interacting at all with the people in the aged care facility.
That's fantastic. Hey, it's 3.7 outside at the moment. It is a cool start to this Monday morning. It's a cool day ahead, 17 just the top. Same tomorrow, 17 but clear. Wednesday it gets warm, follows a familiar pattern this week, 21 on Wednesday, 26 Thursday before cooling down and the rain comes Friday, 22, and a cool weekend again, 16 Saturday and 19 Sunday.
It's Kentucky time at Barrow Hotels. Order a main meal from our new Kentucky menu, including mouth-watering bourbon glazed maple ribs and wings, southern fried chicken burgers, Wagyu beef burgers and more. Then throw in Jim Beam Kentucky straight bourbon, all for under $30. Yep, under $30. Incredible, right? It's Kentucky time at the Albion Hotel, the Birkenhead Tavern, the Excelsior and the Lighthouse Wharf. You just know it's a Barrow Hotel. Limited time only.
Spring into a new kitchen with You Install It Spring Sale and get up to 25% off cabinets this month only. Stop dreaming and start renovating. Custom-sized and pre-assembled cabinetry means big savings without compromising on quality and style. Do it now. Plan your perfect kitchen with our 3D design planner online. Search You Install It or visit our showrooms at Modbury, Glandore, Norwood, Lonsdale and Churchill Centre. You Install It Kitchens, the complete DIY kitchen solution. Conditions apply.
Healthy head of hair, healthy muscles and eyes, healthy teeth and gums. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, Nutrimate has your furry friends covered from teeth to tail with their premium dog rolls. Get into Foodland, Drake's or IGA for the Nutrimate dog roll that does it all.
Certainly does, Will. They've added thiamine and taurine, you'll be pleased to hear, for the healthiest muscles and eyes. And to keep their coats beautiful, there's added omega-3. For all your dog's nutritional needs, these rolls are up to scratch with the international dog food standards for nutrition for all the stages of your dog's lives.
Beef, lamb, chicken. Not for you, for the dog. It'll make them drool. And best of all, you're backing Aussie business because 100% Aussie made and owned means it's goods quality stuff. The high quality ingredients keep your best mates healthy with tails wagging. Don't forget to get into Foodland, Drake's or IGA for the Nutrimate dog roll that does it all.
Do you think a concert pianist needs a builder's licence? No. Does a chartered accountant need one? Nah. Okay, then what about a house inspector? This will surprise you. Right now, there are no regulations in the industry that say you must be a builder to become a house inspector. Mike Pearl from House Inspect Australia is a third-generation licensed builder, and his team is the most qualified team in Australia for house inspections. It's the biggest purchase decision of your life. Don't risk it. Go to houseinspectaustralia.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
28 minutes after 6, Tom Wren in the studio with us, up to $800 on selected ASCO washer dryer packages. Adelaide Appliance Gallery, the home of Mr Dishwasher. Morning, Rennie.
Morning to you, Will. Morning, David. Not a great weekend at all for Port Adelaide fans. I've heard a bit of your discussion already. It was really the theme of the winners and losers, which we do each Monday. We'll start with the winners. We'll go with the positive. And, I mean, it's hard to go past the Doggies. They were up against it. They've been travelling. They've been on the road. They were given very little chance of winning, and they were exceptional. They just bullied them from the outset. It was over after 15 minutes, wasn't it? They were just imperious with the result.
I was 4 minutes late for the game, running around doing stuff with down in Aldinga, and I was putting the kids to bed. Hit refresh on the app on the phone. I'm like, there's 3 goals up already.
Mm. Yeah, it was.
But it felt like one of those, Port have had a few slow starts. Yeah. They'll get back into it. But then it was like, what?
Yeah, no, you just can't. You can't do that over and over again, can you?
No.
So, terrible result for them. The fallout will be fierce, I'm sure. What
about Ken Hingley?
Well, look, there's no doubt there's...
Type his name into Twitter at the moment. My God. Yeah. I hope he's not doing that.
No, exactly. I mean... Look, they're the losers for the weekend. They're the number one losers, clearly. It's a shocking result. It's the worst time of the year to have your worst result and worst performance. But, I mean, I think if you're in the cold light of day, look, I'm clearly a big Ken fan. 60% winning record, but they're failing in the big time. That they exist to win premierships. That's their creed, and they're not doing it. And that, you only get so many bites at the cherry, so they missed it.
A lot of old guys there who... I think now, Boat, Gray, The window's closing pretty fast.
Yeah,
that's...
We'll ask Koshy about that a little bit later today. What are the rest of your winners and losers, Randy?
Max Gawn in Melbourne. I mean, that's the best individual game I think I've seen for
That was
a decade.
such a great game.
It was unreal. And I think most people, other than Geelong fans, were happy to see Melbourne win. I mean, it was just a really good result for the game. Emma Raducanu, I thought, was a big winner over the weekend. 18-year-old, qualifier, first ever. Amazing result. Sam Stozer, doubles crown overnight. Dylan Alcott in the quad singles for the wheelchair. Brilliant. Ronaldo, his return to Manchester United was glorious. 2 goals. He was a big winner. And Dan Ricciardo, for those waking up this morning, he won the Italian Grand Prix. Finally, some success after a dreadful year. Port, the big losers. They were woeful. Geelong, I reckon it's the end of an era for them. They're just about gone. And North Adelaide, they finished with 3 straight losses in the Sandful. So after being in 3rd spot a few weeks ago, really disappointing for the Roosters. Unfortunately, their season is over.
Good on you, Randy.
Thanks,
Cheers,
boys.
Tom. Save up to 15% on selected Asco cooking appliances. Adelaide Appliance Gallery, the home of Mr. Dishwasher.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 17 with the 6:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Peak hour hit too hard? For an RAA-approved crash repair, contact Premier Panel Services.
The COVID vaccine will be made available to children over 12 from today. More from Nine's Michael Packy in Canberra.
Parents will be able to book a vaccine appointment for their kids following a decision by Australia's drug regulator and expert immunisation panel to approve the COVID jab for young people. The Delta variant of the virus has been particularly prevalent in children, with some requiring hospitalisation. The health agencies argue the benefits of vaccination outweigh the risks. Those aged 12 years and over will have access to the high-tech FIVEaa and Moderna formulas.
Sydney is waking up to a raft of new freedoms, but any roadmap for Victoria is still at least a week away. Fully vaccinated adults in New South Wales can now gather outside in groups of 5. Other rules, including mask wearing and the 5-kilometre radius, still apply. While overseas, the British government suddenly scrapped the idea of vaccine passports. More from Nine's Brett McLeod.
England was expected to join countries such as France in making proof of vaccines or a negative COVID test mandatory for getting into public venues such as nightclubs. But the scheme has now been dumped by Boris Johnson's government, under pressure from the entertainment industry and some of the Prime Minister's own MPs. Some private businesses are still running their own no vaccine, no entry policy. One survey showing 10% of the UK population has been asked to prove their COVID status in recent weeks. And Premier League clubs are moving towards checks for all fans at matches by the end of the month.
A man's in hospital after plunging 20 metres down a waterfall at Mannum yesterday. He slipped and fell at the upper waterfall on Cascade Road. The 34-year-old was winched to safety by the MedStar helicopter before being taken to the RAH for treatment. New technology is being hailed a game changer for melanoma patients. 3D body scanning machines will be used as part of a 5-year study to improve skin cancer diagnosis. Australian Cancer Research Foundation Dr Ian Brown says the new technology will allow experts to investigate moles and lesions which could become problematic.
A doctor or dermatologist can then look at that particular image and see whether there are any particular lesions or moles which are of concern, and then be able to recommend those for further treatment.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Save up to 15% on selected Asco cooking appliances at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr. Dishwasher.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. A brilliant night for Aussie Daniel Ricciardo taking out the Italian Grand Prix ahead of Lando Norris and Valtteri Bottas. There was drama in the race with Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen involved in a crash which saw both forced out of the race. Meantime, Aussie Jack Miller has finished 5th at the Aragon MotoGP event overnight, which was won by Italian Francesco Bagnaia. To footy, and the Bulldogs in Melbourne will begin preparing for the grand final in a fortnight after both recorded massive wins on the weekend. It's season over though for Port Adelaide after crashing out in the prelim final for a second straight season. And in the Sandful, the Eagles will play off for the grand final against Glenelg after a 7-point win yesterday. Well, Cade Cooper's recall to the Wallabies has proved a masterstroke from coach Dave Rennie, guiding Australia to a win over South Africa after the full-time siren. Cooper kicked a penalty goal from 40 metres out to claim a 28-26 win over the Springboks on the Gold Coast.
Cade Cooper for the win. It's on its way. It's on its way. It's good. Wade Cooper.
Audio there thanks to 9. To tennis now in the US Open men's final. A great start for Russia's Daniil Medvedev, taking out the first set against red-hot favourite Novak Djokovic, 6-4.
There's another. Textbook, efficient, opportunistic. If Djokovic is going to grab the Grand Slam, he's going to have to come from behind today, yet again.
Audio thanks to ESPN. Earlier, Sam Stosur won the doubles crown with China's Zheng Shui, while Dylan Alcock completed the Golden Slam as he took out the quad singles title. And one game in the EPL overnight, Liverpool jumping up to third following a clinical 3-0 win away to Leeds. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now to the weather.
Head to Foodland, Drake's or IGA for Nutrimate, a new dog roll loaded with healthy nutrients.
Partly cloudy, 17 today, more of the same tomorrow. Partly cloudy again on Wednesday, 21, and warmer for Thursday, 26. At the moment, 4. More news as it happens on 5AA.
The wait is over. Glenelg BMW is now open on Brighton Road. Drop in, meet the team and book your test drive today. Or book your service now at Glenelg BMW Service Centre with next day availability. Visit glenelgbmw.com.au.
Booze Brothers. Beat the others cold.
Some brothers are famous for kicking goals. We're famous for our incredible range of craft beer, small batch, premium wines and spirits. Discover a new drop you can't find anywhere else. Or mix and match any 6-pack of beers and get 10% off. Booze Brothers, the Unley, Avenues Shopping Centre, Myland Hotel and the Duck Inn at Coromandel Valley.
For verandas, sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
23 minutes to 7. Fullerton Road being closed to all traffic is not ideal, I would have thought, for the morning commute. Burst water main, Fullerton Road at Mitcham. Diversions in place, Blythewood Road, Kitchener Street. SAPOL ominously saying repairs may take up to a few days. Please take an alternate route. If you live in the area, can you tell us what happened? Is there water gushing? Was it one of our old-fashioned geyser situations that we've had? We haven't had for a while in South Australia. What's happened there?
Mark Hunter.
Not
Mark Hunter.
Ian
What's his name? Ian Hunter.
Mark Hunter.
Mark Hunter was the lead singer of Dragon, wasn't he?
Hey, double two,
I reckon
three.
Mark Hunter would have done as good a job stopping burst water mains.
Was as interested.
Well, he did appropriately enough saying, "Don't you go out in the rain."
8223 is our number. We'd like to hear from some locals about what's going on there, or if you're a regular commuter through the area, just give us a bit of intel about what that's going to be like.
If Ian Hunter's listening, I very much doubt that he is because he can't stand me. But the sorry, that was a bit gratuitous. There should be. There's a statute of limitations, isn't there, on ridicule for people who hold public office?
Yes.
Has it expired yet?
No. You can text us too on the Telstra Silmat Barker text line 0408 1395.
Okay.
The other thing we'd love to hear from you, and certainly our early morning commuters, use public transport. Let us know what the QR code use is like at the moment and whether the government's steps to install bigger QR codes on buses and trains is an effective measure that's going to encourage their use. Has it been a free-for-all? It was described over the weekend by Nicholas Spurrier as a case of people trying to climb over each other to get to QR codes recently. They only started putting them on public transport in August, and I think in part that's the reason behind the slow uptake. But if you use public transport, give us a review this morning. Is it working any better? Does anyone care? 8223 0000 is our number.
That is weird. Like, they've been in Ubers for months.
Yeah, just last month was public transport. And the problem is that SA Health found, once they started saying you have to use it on public transport, there was no increase in use. There was no uptick they saw. So there was a compliance issue. Roger and Wollonga's called in on this. Morning, Roger.
Yeah, good morning, boys. I'm just on the way to work.
All right, what have you seen?
Just thought I'd let you know that from my observations as a bus driver, probably maybe about 10% of people will get up and scan it once they're on the bus.
That low, 10%.
Well, look, that's only my observation, fellas. It's the same as mask wearing. Mask wearing amongst the general public has been pretty good, but I have to have a bit of a whinge. School kids continue to be a real annoying problem. But yeah, the QR codes, I used to get up and tell people they were on the bus, but I don't do that anymore. It's not our responsibility. So
they've only been there since last month, isn't it, Roger?
Yeah, I was off work for an extended period of time, but probably a couple of months. Perhaps.
Okay, so it's been a little while yet.
They're pretty obvious on the bus. There's about at least 7 or 8 sprinkles throughout the bus.
Roger, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Mick's called in on this as well. Morning, Mick.
How are you, fellas?
Good, thanks,
the
Mick.
question is that you've got to sign in or scan when you go to Woolworths or when you go into a business. When you get onto a bus, you've got the opportunity to scan, but I don't scan because I don't have the application on my phone. So I don't have a provision to manually sign in. So is that a requirement by law to scan? And if yes, it must be a requirement that anybody taking public transport is required to own a phone.
That's interesting, Mick.
The requirement legally is that you say that you've been in a place, but that would be provided the place is giving you the chance to do so. I mean, if there's no book to sign into for people who don't own mobiles on the bus, I don't see what you can do about it, can you?
It's not Mick's problem then.
No.
That provision should be there. Interesting query, Mick. Thank you for that. It's 19 minutes to 7. 8223 0000 is our number. AFL Grand Final it's a bit of a weird one this year. It's not this week. Usually we'd be building up to it now, but it is. There's a week off, so it'll be just under a fortnight's time. The Grand Final entertainment has been confirmed.
This don't feel right.
Birds of Tokyo will be playing the AFL Grand Final.
Never heard that song before.
Lucy tells me you might know this bit. No,
never heard it. Never heard it.
They're a reasonably big band. Lucy tells me Birds of Tokyo got their name because there are no birds in Tokyo.
Is that true?
Apparently, I didn't know that. It was a little factoid she handed in this morning.
Seriously?
They thought it'd be kind of quaint because there are none there because it's so dense and the pollution and whatnot. Birds avoid the area. So there you go. Birds of Tokyo playing the AFL Grand Final. You know there are going to be 5AA listeners going to the Grand Final, Dave?
Yes.
Do you know what they have to do? They have to call in right now because Bonanza has started. 8223 0000. Call in, come on the air, say your name or suburb or make a sound of some description, and you're in the running to win tickets, flights and accommodation to the Grand Final over in Perth. Might be the only way you can get into Perth, I'm not sure. 8223 0000. We've got only a minute 30 left. Loose, put someone to air.
Come on, get on there. Now, obviously, the complexion of this has changed a bit.
June.
The result Saturday.
Good
Here
morning.
We go, June. June's first come off the rank.
June in Golden Grove, thank you. What have we got there?
You're
Heath,
June.
where are you, Heath?
Windvale.
Heath, thank you.
Heath in
Let's go to David. David, where are you?
I'm in Newton.
David's in Newton.
David in Newton.
Thank you very much, David. We got a minute and 9 seconds remaining. If you want to be in the draw, we're going to do this for 2 minutes, 3 times every single day, and
Two
put
tickets.
as many people as we can in the running for the Grand Final tickets. Oh, I think we had Daryl. He didn't make a sound.
Go on,
So,
Daryl.
Daryl, you're not in. 8223 0000 is the number. Janine, good morning.
Hi,
Where are you, Janine?
I'm from Marion.
Janine's in Marion. Thank you, Janine. Let's go to Andrew. Where are you, Andrew?
Craigback's home.
Good on you, Andrew. In fact, we got back-to-back Andrews. That makes things confusing. Where is Andrew number 2?
Cricket.
Thank you, Andrew number 2. Remember that. If Andrew number 2 wins, that's you. Josie, good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Where are you, Josie?
I'm at West Beach, one of the best parts of South Australia.
Hey, Josie.
Well done, Josie.
Give your postcode a shout-out. Fantastic work. Peter, where are you, mate?
Peter, I'm at Eastwood.
Peter, who are you going for in the Grand Final?
Melbourne.
All right, thank you, Peter.
Central
Matt, where are you?
I'm at Glandore, mate.
And
How
one
you going,
more.
boys?
Anne-Marie, where are you?
North Brighton.
Okay, Anne-Marie's the last one that gets in with our first 2-minute bonanza of the morning. David and Will's Grand Final bonanza, 3 times for 2 minutes each and every morning of the program this week.
Well done to June, Heath, David, Janine, both Andrews, Josie, Peter, Matt and Anne-Marie. 10 entrants in the first 2 minutes. What
We
about
can
that?
beat that. We'll do much better
we
than
can.
10.
Well, that was the first time, so we're just,
that was slow out of
shaking
the
off the
box.
cobwebs.
That was Port Prelim level speed.
Yes,
we'll
that's
get
right.
moving.
Bit sluggish.
We will get moving as we progress.
You've been to a grand final, haven't you?
2.
What 97, 98?
Yep. 3. Unfortunately,
Yes,
actually,
of course.
the
one that dare not speak its name.
One of them, I've spent a lot of money in therapy trying to evict from my memory.
I was a suit for 4 years running when I was editing the paper in Sydney. The AFL used to fly all the editors, and the package that we got is pretty much identical to the one that we're offering all this week for 5AA. The flights, the accommodation. It's just the coolest weekend.
Yep.
It is so good, but it's going to be uniquely awesome being in Perth.
Oh, it'll be great. And we'll have another chance. Next hour, another 2 minutes for you to call in when you hear the Bonanza theme. That's all you need to do. You hear the theme, you start calling 8223 AA. Let's check traffic. Thanks to Glenelg BMW. They're now open on Brighton Road. Drop in and see Adelaide's newest home for BMW.
At Melrose Park, electrical works after an earlier collision. That's on Dawes Road near South Road. That's closed both directions between Albert and Kitchener. Take Blythewood Road from Old Belair Road as you're heading in this morning. And Crafers, all lanes now open into the city. Left-hand lane closed on the uptrack, speeds at 60 k's. Look out for cameras this morning. Blacks Road, Gillis Plains and Grand Junction Road at Northfield. Right now at Porto, get a delicious pita pocket with 2 crispy chicken strips, coleslaw, a regular chips and a $3.90 drink for just $9.95. Order in store or take away now. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
A couple in love or adulterers, an innocent email or fraud. Step inside the mysterious world of Australia's private investigators in the new 8-part podcast series, I Spy. Out now at ispyseries.com.au.
No one wants to spend their weekend in emergency. So if you hurt yourself on a Saturday or Sunday, Dr. Greg Keane says come and see SportsMed instead.
The doctors at our weekend injury clinic can treat any sporting or orthopaedic injuries right away. You won't have to wait all afternoon.
And a standard consult costs less than a private hospital emergency department, right?
Much less.
World-class care without the wait. SportsMed.
Start living life again after your injury.
sportsmed.com.au.
Tickets are on sale now for the 3rd annual Southern Cross Care Age Well Expo on Tuesday, the 5th of October at the Adelaide Sailing Club, West Beach.
Sponsored by Ada Care and HUR Australia, this engaging and entertaining expo will be held during Active Ageing Week. It offers the opportunity to connect with like-minded people. You'll also hear from a range of amazing guest speakers and experts on topics such as fitness and strength, healthy eating and cooking, along with promoting positive wellbeing and lifestyles.
The Age Well Expo will run from 9:30am to 3:30pm with a range of stall holders, live entertainment, delicious morning tea and lunch, all included in the ticket price.
To buy tickets and to learn more about the Southern Cross Care Age Well Expo on Tuesday, October 5 at the Adelaide Sailing Club in West Beach, just visit southerncrosscare.com.au or call Southern Cross Care on 1800 852 772.
For 37 years, Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth a trip. They are Adelaide's small SUV specialists. Located in Gawler with late model Tucson, ASX, RAV4 or the Forester, Trax, Kona and more available now. Perfect for the growing tribe with lots of space, safety features and economical to run. With 60 SUVs in stock, Steinborner Gawler has you covered. View all our used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth a trip.
When you die, who gets what? Will your kids or relatives argue over your estate? Will your beneficiaries be protected? Will your estate be tax effective? Will your wishes be respected and carried out? Speak with Donlan Lawyers now for peace of mind. Donlan Lawyers for wills and estate planning. Visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
11 to 7, more chances, more entrants into our Bonanza AFL Grand Final competition after 7 o'clock. Stay listening for the tune. 2 minutes to call in. We'll put as many names as we can. Already 10 people are in the running. More chances coming up on 5AA Breakfast after 7 o'clock. Let's check in with SAPOL. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad is on the line. Morning, Kimberly.
Morning, Will. Morning, Dave.
Now, a woman's been reported for a pursuit in the western suburbs.
Yeah, it was just after 5 o'clock yesterday. A member of the public called police after spotting a black Holden driving along Strathfield Terrace with blown tyres. Now, patrols have headed to the area and found the car driving on its rims, heading north along Commercial Road. The patrol activated their emergency lights and indicated for the driver to pull over. However, they failed to stop and continued on to St Vincent Street and through the heart of Port Adelaide. It continued north on the Esplanade, Lady Gowie Drive, and finally stopped on Victoria Road at North Haven. But that driver is a 40-year-old woman from Grange. She's been reported for a number of traffic offences, including driving dangerously to escape police pursuit. She'll be summoned to appear in court at a later date, but also detained to undergo a mental health assessment.
Second time in a week we've had people driving on their rims in Adelaide streets. Generally not a good way to get from A to B. Kimberley, also, we've been talking this morning about this burst water main on Fullerton Road. Sounds like that's going to be inconvenient for quite some time.
Yeah, that's right. And it was actually a Mitcham resident that raised the alarm about 3:30 this morning after she called reporting water flooding through her front door. Police and MFS responded and then realised that quite a few houses were affected and obviously saw the extent of the water that was out there. So it's going to be major delays for traffic heading into the city from those southern foothill suburbs. SA crews are obviously on scene working to fix that, but it's I think it's just outside of Mercedes College, that sort of intersection. That's where the burst actually is. But so yeah, Fullerton Road is closed both directions. And you mentioned those diversions earlier on. It's Blythewood for city-bound and the Kitchener Street, Claremont Avenue intersection for southbound. And, yeah, unfortunately, I think it might take a few days.
That's what you guys are being told by SA
Yeah, that's
water.
what crews on the scene are reporting to us.
Yeah, wow.
So.
Okay. Thank you for that, Kimberley. Senior Constable Kimberley Broad from SAPOL. We'd love some help on that one, folks. If you're a regular Fullerton Road commuter or someone in the area that can give us a sense of what's happened. Sounds like it's a serious burst. 8223 0000. Simon Timke, Senior Forecaster at the Weather Bureau, is on the line also. And Simon, it's a pretty cool start to this Monday morning.
Good morning, guys. It certainly is, yeah. We're having a pretty chilly start to the day. Currently in the city here, sitting on 4.2 degrees, but it's been down to 3.7. Even colder about the northern suburbs, down to 1.4 at Parafield, 2.1 Edinburgh, 3 degrees at Mount Lofty, Noarlunga 6, Adelaide Airport down to about 5 degrees. So pretty chilly start. And not a warm day by any stretch, but we should see a little bit of sunshine. So if you can find a spot out of the wind in the sunshine, should be okay. 17 degrees we're forecasting for the maximum, the same for Glenelg, 16 for Elizabeth and Noarlunga, 14 degrees for Mount Barker today. Just a slight chance of a shower around this morning, a little bit more likely about the hills and the southern suburbs. Looking on the radar at the moment, there's a couple of showers about the far southern suburbs, sort of around just to the east and south of Noarlunga there. So by the afternoon, though, hopefully most of those will have cleared away, and the winds pretty southerly, generally around 15 to 25 kilometres per hour, easing back in the evening. Over the next couple of days, temperatures slowly rising, still 17 degrees for Tuesday, and another cold start, expecting a minimum of around 5 degrees for Tuesday morning. So cold morning, 17 degrees, partly cloudy. Should be dry tomorrow, though, I think. And then for Wednesday, remaining dry but partly cloudy, a little bit warmer, up to 21 degrees, and not quite so cold overnight. An overnight minimum of 7 for Wednesday morning. Thursday, partly cloudy but dry again, 26 degrees. That's the warmest day of the week on Thursday. And then Friday, there's a trough moving across, so we'll see a shower or two, I think, and a little bit cooler, 22 degrees. But then we see the real effect of that change on Saturday with a much cooler day. Still 1 or 2 showers around, only 16 degrees, the maximum for Saturday, and 19 degrees with a shower or two for Sunday. So, unfortunately, another cooler, showery weekend on the way next weekend.
Good on you, Simon. Thank you for that. Simon Timke, Senior Forecaster at the Weather Bureau. Lots of texts on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line about the QR codes on public transport. Andrew in Fullerton says they need to put the QR code on the back of the seats. It's too hard where they've put them on buses. Make it easy or people can't be bothered. Well, let us know if it's better today, Andrew. They're saying they work from 3 metres away, the new big ones they've put on public transport.
Seriously?
Now. Apparently. Another person says IQR in buses but don't always see them. The codes are positioned on the window, so it's difficult to do unless the code is positioned at the seats you're sitting at. I think there's a theme emerging here. Kylie in Glengarry says, I catch the train and the QR codes have been placed in limited spots and people are generally standing in front of them, so it's hard to check in with limited opportunity to do so. So some work to be done if the state government wants people to comply on that front. You've heard it from our listeners, and if you're someone who uses public transport, we'd love to hear from you. 8223 0000.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. National Tiles supplies 4 out of the 5 biggest home builders in Australia. Yes, National Tiles supplies 4 out of the 5 biggest home builders in Australia, because National Tiles provides the biggest and best home builders with the very best quality tiles for their clients and the very best value for money tiles for their clients. So if you're a professional builder, to guarantee your clients the very best, Contact National Tiles now.
Palmitoyl ethanolamide. It's a word almost as long as the alphabet, but you don't need to know how to pronounce it, just that it helps minimise the effect of chronic pain. At Green Dispensary, they call it PEA for short, or P. P is a natural fatty acid our body produces to combat pain and inflammation. Sometimes the body doesn't produce enough. At Green Dispensary, you'll find a P supplement that may help you produce more and ease pain. Green Dispensary, 4 locations over Adelaide.
Now, this is good news. If you're a snorer, if you suffer from cramps or you have restless legs, this could be the answer to all your problems. These guys are great. They're normally at the Royal Show. Get yourself an Ultramatic adjustable bed.
Oh, this sounds good. Ultramatic beds are improving people's lives all over SA. Great quality with a super comfortable mattress made right here, along with outstanding German technology in their electronic motors. They even have a zero gravity position.
What about that?
They call that the Bezos.
Yeah, or the Neil Armstrong mode.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. And here's the best part. Because the Royal Show, as I said, isn't going ahead, they've now got heaps of stock ready to go at show prices. You can get a fully adjustable single electric bed for just $24,990 delivered. That's an incredible saving.
Yep, you'll also receive up to 50% off selected ResMed CPAP products. And just so you know, today's CPAP machines are extremely quiet and they're more comfortable than ever.
So call into the Ultramatic showroom opposite Scotty's Motel. Sale on while stocks last.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. For veranda sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Three minutes to 7. Time to head to the US. David Woiwod is in New York for 7 News and joins us now on 5AA Breakfast. David, good morning to you.
Morning, fellas. How you going?
We are going well, David. I caught a bit of this late Saturday night before I went to bed. The US has reflected on the 9/11 terror attacks. Has there been a different quality to it this year, the 20th anniversary?
Yeah, well, yeah, they have. They've reflected, but it certainly doesn't get any easier for these families. And you would have seen the pictures yourself. There's just so many tears. These families, they still live this. This is what they've told us. They still live this each and every day. This is husbands and wives that have lost partners. This is parents that have lost children. This is children that never knew their parents. So it doesn't get any easier. And what we saw yesterday was really it was a beautiful, beautiful ceremony. It was a heart-wrenching one, though, to watch. We heard the bells there chiming to mark the time that each of those planes actually hit those buildings, and then again at the time that the buildings collapsed. So it was incredibly hard to watch much of it. We heard from those family members. We saw names read out, all names as well of all those victims. So, yeah, an incredibly tough day, really, for all these families. But just walking around the streets, because it was a COVID-safe event, we actually couldn't get close to the memorial. But people who actually didn't lose anyone but have just seen the pictures, they're New Yorkers, perhaps they weren't living here at the time. Everyone is affected by this. There's little tributes popping up all around the city as well, particularly at fire stations where you see a lot of those tributes to, of course, the first responders. So I can't convey how tough and how much this city was actually hurting yesterday.
What was the reaction like there, David, to the declassifying of FBI documents that tried to find a link between the hijackers and the Saudi Arabian government?
Yeah, so that's going to be a big part. That was obviously something that Joe Biden had promised he would do when he was campaigning for the White House. So that has started to happen. Basically, he had been warned by a lot of victims' families not to bother turning up to Ground Zero yesterday if he hadn't have already done that. So he has started doing that process. And as you say, these are the families that are really trying to link the Saudi government and Saudi intelligence officials to those attacks. So still plenty more documents that will be drip-fed out over the next few months, but that process has started. Joe Biden keeping good on that. And, as you say, families really keen to see all those documents.
Good on you, David. Thank you for that. David Woiwod in New York for 7 News. We're just seconds away from the 7 o'clock news with Kendall Breddick on the other side of it. We'll get you some more information on the Fullerton Road closure this morning due to the burst water main there. Sounds like a big one. It's going to take days to fix up. So we'll get you some more info on that. There's some other big stories we'll take you through, including our chat with the Premier, Stephen Marshall, after 7:30. And stay listening to for the Bonanza theme. Next time you hear it, it'll signal 2 minutes and your chance to call in and be put in the draw to win tickets to the AFL Grand Final with flights and accommodation included.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 17 with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Hit. Car scuffle driving to work? Contact Premier Panel Services, RAA approved crash repairer.
Parents will be able to book children aged over 12 in for a COVID vaccine from today. More from Nine's Michael Packey.
Australia's drug regulator and expert immunisation panel has given the green light for 2 vaccines to be used in young people. Those aged over 12 can be booked for Pfizer, and parents will also have access to Moderna in a little over a week. Both vaccines use the same mRNA production technique. The federal government has more Pfizer doses being brought forward and an extra 1 million Moderna doses have been purchased. The vaccines will be administered through GP clinics, vaccination hubs, pharmacies, and it's hoped schools will also get on board.
Queensland health authorities are closely monitoring the state's latest COVID outbreak in Brisbane's south. They believe the family of 5 caught the virus from 3 men from New South Wales who recently stayed with them. A minor from Sydney who flew into Adelaide on Friday tested positive. He's in a Medi hotel. More Great State vouchers are up for grabs this morning. This round is aimed at experiences and tours with discounts of up to $200. SA Tourism Chief Rod Harrick says the ballot opens at 9.
You go on to southaustralia.com, you register. It's open until the 15th at 5 p.m. and then the ballot draw will happen on the 16th and people will be notified immediately if they're successful.
Round 6 will be released next week with accommodation vouchers on offer. A woman has been reported following a pursuit in the western suburbs last night. A black Holden was spotted driving on its rims through the heart of Port Adelaide. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says it was pursued.
Finally stopped on Victoria Road at North Haven. But that driver is a 40-year-old woman from Grange. She's been reported for a number of traffic offences, including driving dangerously to escape police pursuit. She'll be summoned to appear in court at a later date, but also detained to undergo a mental health assessment.
Pope Francis has warned of the lurking dangers of anti-Semitism after meeting with one of Europe's most controversial leaders. More from Nine's Brett McLeod.
The 84-year-old Pope has visited Hungary in his first trip since spending 10 days in hospital recovering from bowel surgery. This too was a delicate procedure, as the nationalist anti-immigrant agenda of the Hungarian President Viktor Orban is completely at odds with Francis's stance on issues such as refugees. The pair met briefly before the pontiff told Christian and Jewish leaders afterwards the threat of anti-Semitism is still lurking in Europe and elsewhere. The Pope later telling an open-air mass and a veiled critique of the country's leader, Hungary should open its arms to everyone.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Save up to $800 on selected Asco washer dryer packages. Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. The post-mortem on Port season will begin at Alberton today following Saturday night's shattering 71-point loss to the Western Bulldogs. The Power have fallen at the prelim final hurdle for a second straight season and face some tough calls on some experienced players who are out of contract. Meantime, the Bulldogs and Demons will start preparing for the grand final. Much debate on whether Stephen May will be fit for Melbourne, while Alex Keith and Cody Waitman will be hoping to return for the Dogs. Well, Daniel Ricciardo has won his 8th Formula One race and his first since 2018 after taking out the Italian Grand Prix with a sensational performance. The Australian started from second on the grid and passed championship leader Max Verstappen on the first lap. Meantime, Italy's Francesco Bagnaia has won the Aragon MotoGP, keeping out Marc Marquez in a tight battle to the line.
Down the hill, he's through on Bagnaia. Can he make a step? He's wide, and that might be it. That might well be it from Marc Marquez. Bagnaia is a MotoGP winner for Ducati.
Aussie Jack Miller finished in 5th place. Let's go to tennis. Russia's Daniil Medvedev is on top in the US Open men's final after taking the first set 6-4 before just taking another crucial break of serve midway through the second set. He currently leads 4-2 in that second set. Briefly elsewhere, American Billy Horschel has won the European PGA Championship in England, 1 shot clear of 3 players. Aussie Adam Scott finished 6 shots back at 13 under. The Wallabies have grabbed a thrilling 28 to 26 point win in their rugby union clash against South Africa, and one game in the English Premier League overnight with Liverpool 3-0 winners over Leeds. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now let's check traffic.
Glenelg BMW is now open on Brighton Road. Drop in and see Adelaide's newest home for BMW.
Good morning. At Melrose Park this morning, got urgent electrical works on Dawes Road near South Road after an earlier collision into a Stovey pole. Avoid that area if you can today. At Mitcham, got a burst water main there. That's blocking Fullerton Road, causing a few delays. That's between Albert and Kitchener. Best advice is to take Blythewood Road to avoid delays on the drive-in. Look out for cameras today. Clark Terrace, Seaton, Grave Street, Newton and North East Road at St Agnes. Is your BMW due for a service? Then book your service today at Glenelg BMW. The team on Brighton Road look forward to welcoming you to Adelaide's newest home for BMW. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Head to Foodland, Drake's or IGA for Nutrimate, a new dog roll loaded with healthy nutrients.
Partly cloudy and 17 today, more of the same tomorrow. Partly cloudy Wednesday 21 and warmer on Thursday 26. At the moment 5. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Don't miss Olympic Industries whatever the weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 after 7, good morning to you. Welcome to Monday on 5AA Breakfast. It is cool out there at the moment, as you've just heard. But it's a week that'll follow that familiar pattern. By Thursday it'll be nice, and then by the weekend it'll be cold and miserable again.
Yeah. Bad timing. We've got to get away from this sort of nice weekday weather and then horrible. Yesterday was a terrible day.
Absolutely.
Yesterday was deeply unpleasant.
Oh, it was not fun at all. We will chat with the Premier of South Australia, Stephen Marshall, after 7:30 today on a subject matter that actually leads us off here at 7:05. He has repeated yesterday his vow to open South Australia's borders to New South Wales and Victoria when 80% of the state's population is fully vaccinated. That will mean before Christmas, you can travel to New South Wales and Victoria. Here's the Premier yesterday.
We'll certainly move away from state lockdowns. In terms of state lockouts, I think we'll also be moving away from that and moving towards more LGA or exposure site exclusions. There will still need to be some public health social measures in place.
Yeah, there'll be social measures in place, and as he mentioned there, it'll be more based around local government, LGAs of concern than it will be states of concern.
Yeah. I have, and this is going to be our key question to the Premier. I reckon if my kids were living interstate, I wouldn't be getting my hopes up yet, because there is a gigantic asterisk next to that. What the Premier just said is, we're not going to have state closures, we're going to have LGA closures. Well, okay, at the moment, which local government areas in Sydney and Melbourne are affected by the coronavirus?
So well, is it, and what?
So maybe if you live in like West Wyalong, you'll be able to get home.
Well, what constitutes an LGA of concern? Is it 100 cases, is it 1,000 cases, or is it 2 cases?
These are the key questions.
Or is it no cases?
Well,
are they bordering? You know, so we'll be.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not knocking the bloke, but indeed, I would add that every single conversation I've had and overheard with people in South Australia seems to be along the lines of, why are we even talking about opening the borders? I actually think that there's huge public clamour in South Australia, and I don't actually agree with it, but I think most people are still of the view that we shouldn't open the borders at all.
Do you think that's most people?
I think it would be more than 50%. And I'd love to be proven wrong, but tell me if I'm wrong, folks. It feels to me... and
at 80%, not right now. Not Monday.
I reckon even if we're at 95% vaccinated in South Australia and there's still more than 1,000 cases a day coming out of the eastern states, I think people will still overwhelmingly in South Australia, on the eve of the South Australian election...
Nah, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Nah, I don't see it.
I don't know.
I think there'll be significant. I think there's a significant number of people. I don't think it's more than half. At 95%.
But it feels to me like our position, well, the Premier's position in South Australia, we're like in a policy sense, it feels to me like we are a politer version of the McGowan government when it comes to borders opening.
We're making very different noises to the McGowan government.
Well, I don't think we are in policy effect. We'll ask the Premier when he comes on, but it feels to me like the emphasis there on LGAs means that there's still a high likelihood that if there's cases in Sydney and Melbourne, we will not open up at all to people who live in Sydney City, Melbourne City.
We'll tease that out after 7:30 when he joins us. Good question for him. This is the situation in New South Wales right now, who are today themselves having something of an opening up. They're calling it Picnic Day.
Fully vaccinated Sydney-siders are set to receive their reward for surpassing the 6 million jabs target, as picnics are allowed from today. Residents outside the 12 local government areas of concern will be able to gather outdoors in groups of 5, but must remain within their LGA or 5 kilometres from home. Children under the age of 12 are not included in the 5-person limit. Those living in hotspots will only be allowed to gather outdoors within their household and only for 2 hours a day.
So that's from Sky News. You and 4 of your closest friends can go for a picnic as of today.
I tell you what, felt like there were about 100,000 people in Sydney who thought Picnic Day had started early on Saturday because it was 30 degrees in Sydney. Did you see all the scenes at Tama and Bondi and Coogee and Maroubra? Like, people just said, stuff this, we're going to the beach. They were there for hours before the cops went, oh, maybe we should go and tell them all to move. But, yeah, it's been an issue all along that people have thought every day has been Picnic Day regardless of the fact that they're in the midst of a pandemic.
If you are an avid listener or watcher of The Voice on Channel 7, listen away now if you don't want the winner to be revealed, because last night was the grand final. $100,000 was the prize and the opportunity to release your own song. The winner came from Guy Sebastian's stable, Bella Taylor Smith.
Let this be our prayer. Let this be our prayer. When we lose our way. When we lose our way. Lead us to a place. Guide us with your grace.
It's them singing a duet prayer last night, told by avid viewers of The Voice. This is one of the best seasons ever.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
People, you're a big Voice guy?
Yeah, no, we watched the turnaround bit at the start, but then we always lose interest in it.
Okay, right when it gets to teams.
When they're picking the teams, yeah, but after that it gets a bit...
Well, people that watch it to the end, let us know what you think. 8223 0000 or text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. One of the things we're looking for a bit of feedback on this morning is the situation on Fullerton Road. Mike Lorrigan for 9 News is at the site of the burst water main. Mike, what's the situation there?
Hey, good morning, fellas. Well, look, the road is now closed. This has happened at the intersection of Carrick Hill Drive and Fullerton Road at Mitcham, and essentially at 3 a.m. this morning, a water main underneath the intersection has burst. This is a substantial burst, and residents woke to hear the sounds of running water. This is right out the front of the entrance of Mercedes College, the school there. There was been significant damage to the intersection. As I said, residents heard running water. They've come outside and they've just seen water coming up from underneath the intersection. This water has then moved down or up Fullerton Road, you could say, towards the city, and the water's then passed down Broughton Avenue. Around 20 or so properties have been damaged through this. Several of them have been seriously damaged, and this has been a very, very long night for residents. I'm sure everyone listening now woke up to a very cold morning in Adelaide. Now imagine that, and having water running through your property. So it has been a very long night for residents. There's no word just yet on the cause. We've been informed that this area here is a high-pressure area. It's also been a very cold night, as I said, but it's unsure if that has affected the pipes in any way. Right now, the water has stopped running, but significantly, I think, for the listeners this morning who are commuting in, Fullerton Road around Mitcham is pretty much a no-go area. It's completely closed, and this will be closed for most of the day, or, at least the coming days almost. The damage is significant. There are 2 massive sinkholes in the intersection now, and we were told by the MFS that it's likely this intersection will have to be ripped up and rebuilt.
Wow.
Jeez.
Mike, thank you for that. Mike Lorrigan for 9 News.
Rebuild the whole intersection.
Well, that explains why they so quickly were able to say to SAPOL, this is going to take days to fix. Maybe days is even ambitious.
Well, rebuilding an entire intersection,
Sinkholes.
Speaking on behalf of everyone who uses Peter Van Corner, that didn't take days.
No, that hopefully was a significantly larger bit of engineering.
Well, yeah, it's a much bigger intersection, but fixing any intersection.
Crikey.
Yeah, well, let's just watch and don't want to beat it up too much, but if that's what they're saying, that's pretty ominous.
We'll keep an eye on that, and if you're a local, we'd still love to hear from you as well, 8223 0000. Speaking of the weather, cool start Mike mentioned. Well, Ben on the Telstra Storm Outback text line says, what a beautiful Adelaide day, perfect for giving Power fans heaps. Now, we have Power fans that are good friends of the show. In fact, we've got a correspondent in the Alberton area, Dave Lloyd.
Yep.
He's an official part of the team.
He's mourner-in-chief today.
Well, he's going to join us in just a moment. Just take us inside the morning, on the morning of this Monday. So that's coming up in just a moment. But first, we're going to check traffic. Is your BMW due for a service? Well, then book your service today. Glenelg BMW on Brighton Road.
At Seaton got a car V truck and Tapley's Hill Road at Clark Terrace. Melrose Park got urgent electrical works there on Dawes Road near South Road after an earlier collision. Mitcham this morning got a burst water main. That's blocking Fullerton Road between Albert and Kitchener. Best advice on the driving, take Blythewood Road to avoid delays. Look out for cameras this morning too. Addison Road, Pennington, Grand Junction Road, Hope Valley and Smart Road at St Agnes. Win a $3 million grand prize on the Esplanade at South Brighton with the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. Visit homelottery.com.au, licence M14053. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Like the 2-hour lineup at the Port Elliot Bakery, or the lofty view from the summit, from the ultra-realistic bunyip at the bridge, to the sparkling floors of the Central Market. Things that make our fine state. It's who we are. Local, iconic, proud. There is SASAA. Live, local, and always informing Adelaide. 5AA.
G'day South Australia, Cheats here. Over the years I've seen some great South Australian teams, but the best has to be the team from BL Shipway, who I've known for over 30 years. They've been looking after the state's hydraulic and pneumatic needs since 1953. You can find them on Richmond Road with stock on hand from quality brands like Ryco, Rexroth, Hydac and Enerpac. If you can't get to them, they'll send a Ryco 24/7 van to you anytime, anywhere. blshipway.com.au, a South Australian team you can count on.
Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift.
When you need a forklift, don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Get the world's #1 forklift brand. Get legendary Toyota reliability, get world-leading safety, and get it from toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For sales, service and hire,
Get a Toyota forklift.
Will talks to his mother-in-law about her 3-day private jet charter trip to Uluru with NT Now.
So, Glenna, tell me about the Sounds of Silence experience.
We all got on the bus and went off to a very sort of remote place in the desert. First of all, we went up to the top of a hill, stood there having champagne and canapes, and just watched the sunset over Uluru. And then after that, we went down because the colour of the rock, it just changes every 5 minutes with the sun. Spectacular.
So the dinner was out under the stars as well?
The dinner was, yes, just beautiful with the black chairs, white tablecloths. You were sitting on the red desert sand. Then we had to all be silent and just listen, and it was amazing. And then we had an astronomer, but he spoke about the stars, the planets, the Milky Way, pointed different things out to us. And someone did a performance with the didgeridoo. So that was an amazing night. Everybody loved it.
Next departure is 22 October. Limited spots available. Book at ntnow.com.au.
It's incredible. Over 50% of tickets in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery have already been sold. Don't miss your chance to join the fight and win big. The $3 million grand prize is a fully furnished Scott Salisbury home on the Esplanade with $500,000 in the bank. You'll have no mortgage and no worries. Tickets won't last long. Get yours today at homelottery.com.au. Thank you for your support.
Licence M14053.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
For veranda sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
90 minutes after 7. We expected to be chatting with our Alberton correspondent this morning as the start of the build-up to the AFL Grand Final. Unfortunately, it is not to be the case. In fact, we still got the tickets to give away, mind you. The Bonanza competition continues in the next half hour. But Dave Lloyd, our Alberton correspondent, has been on board, I think, since about day one of this program,
Yep.
David, hasn't he? Given us insights into the hearts and the minds of the people of the port. Today, it's more of a sombre duty that he's got in front of him. Dave, good morning to you, mate. Commiserations.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Monday morning after a prelim final loss was a pretty quiet day yesterday. I just rang around trying to book in for some root canal therapy and a prostate exam just to cheer things up a little bit. I figured can't get too much worse, so I might as well get those done today and round the weekend off. Not at the same time, obviously.
No. Make sure you don't let anyone tell you there's 2-for-1 deals.
What do I do? Do I cough or do I keep my mouth open?
Look, credit to the Bulldogs though. They were sensational. There's a reason they've been top two all year, albeit they were a couple of men down and they've done a bit of a Burke and Wills around the country. But congratulations and all credit to them. They were far too good, but pretty disappointing effort from our boys, and I think that's probably our worst showing in about 2.5 years, and to do it Saturday night in front of a home crowd with a spot in the grand final on the line, it doesn't get any more disappointing than that.
Dave, you know, Will and I obviously a pair of Crows tragics. I said at the start of the show that, we're still mentally scarred by what happened in 2017, but it was reminiscent what happened to you guys on Saturday, because it just felt like such a done deal. Like, I don't think there was hardly anyone who was seriously and confidently predicting that the Bulldogs would get up. And does the shattering nature of such an unexpected and ugly defeat make it even harder to deal with?
All bloody competition on the pre-mise that we were already going to win.
We didn't play Can You Feel It? It wasn't all our fault.
Yeah, I'm still dealing with the scars of 2007. It's only 14 years ago. The wounds haven't healed. Pretty shattering, and you know it stings and you know it burns, but I think you both touched on it earlier. Would you rather bow out now or next, in 2 weeks' time? And there's no doubt the further you go, the harder it is to cop. And the West Coast elimination final loss was pretty tough to cop, but given the expectation on Saturday night, and I guess most of us went there really confident. I certainly did. I went there confident, thinking we were good enough to get through, and Melbourne's form Friday night worried me, thinking whoever goes through is going to be up against it.
Yeah,
but,
totally.
As it turns out, I think the best two teams are there and should be a cracking game in 2 weeks' time, and I might be off the emotional roller coaster by then.
Yeah,
2 weeks to get over it.
Very generous of you, Dave. And, mate, the upside is that everything you booked in, at least you know you've got your full bit of health. So,
Thank you, guys.
Good on you, Dave.
Good on you, Dave.
Thank you, mate. Dave
Alberton
Lloyd.
correspondent, Mourner-in-Chief.
Someone had to front up from the Port Adelaide Football Club today.
That was very funny.
And it's Dave.
He's got the best outlook, Dave.
He
Cracking
does.
bloke.
I don't know if he did at about 20 minutes into the first quarter on Saturday night.
Jeez.
But, anyone who genuinely cares wouldn't have. All right, let's talk sport. Stephen Rowe joins us. Time's valuable. Ensure your vehicle receives rapid, accurate service with North Point Toyota Express Maintenance. It is the North Point way. It was a result that shocked everyone, Rowe.
Oh, Pemberthy, Willie, good fella, Dave. I enjoyed him. Good fella, good portman. Hey, good morning. Yeah, what can I say that really hasn't already been said? I'm still shell-shocked. I don't even barrack for Port, but they just simply didn't turn up. The Dogs just ambushed them. Honestly, they'll never get, and we know this, a better chance to make a grand final. I billed it the unlosable game with Treaders on the Friday. The last words out of Ken Hinkley's mouth to the media on the Friday, we've had a near faultless preparation. Now it's up to the boys to execute. Well, the team let you down, Ken. It's as simple as that. They didn't turn up. They allowed the Dogs want. And that's all it was. Their want was greater than theirs, because it certainly wasn't talent, was it? And I reckon that's what hurts the most. They were talented enough, honestly. Where did that come from?
I think the Bulldogs blew them off the park.
In every aspect of the game.
The best two teams are playing in the grand final this weekend. I don't think there was a miscarriage of justice. I just think it was they had a side that they were down two key players and seemed to have an extra gear. I think they're just a better side.
No, I disagree. I think on paper, before the game, most critics, like myself, had Port easily. Bulldogs simply wanted it more.
But
Honestly, they did.
Didn't we all read far too much into the Port Geelong game? And as revealed on Friday night when Melbourne destroyed them over in WA, Geelong weren't any form of measuring stick. They weren't a measuring stick.
Hang on. Bulldogs lived out of a suitcase for a month.
Yeah.
They've been travelling around the countryside like the Leyland brothers. They were banged up with injury, miles off their best team. And not only did they win, they smoked Port. That was a comprehensive pants job. And honestly, not enough credit's going them. Full credit to them. Hey, they duplicate that and the Demons show up. This could be a grand final for the ages. I'll agree with that.
They both play a really attractive attacking brand of footy. So where does Port go to? We do this weird thing in Australian sport where sometimes the worst thing you can do is make it as far as you can and lose. Because we'll spend a lot of time talking about where the grand final loser goes to from here next week, and we'll do it now this week with Port Adelaide. Do they have the settings right? And by the settings, I mean the key positions like Ken Hinkley, the way that the squads run off the field. Is it just a matter of luck and resetting for next year, or does something need to change?
Well, I don't think that coaching group will be the same again next year. I'm not putting any pressure on Ken there, but the Port supporters will come after Ken. Those true believers, we expect to win a flag and all that sort of stuff. You know, the days of expecting things, they're numbered. This is a brutal competition, and I'm looking forward to hearing how Koshy speaks with you guys after 8:30. They've got all the pillars. They went out and got O'Leary and they went out and got Fantasia. That recruitment group and that list management group would be bitterly disappointed they're not in a grand final. And that's football. That's football. I think more so than moving on to what they need is what in bloody hell happened on Saturday when they had the most perfect preparation, a week's rest. They had everything to play for and they didn't turn up. And the players, I'm laying it all at the players' feet, to be honest with you. There you are. I'm laying it right at their feet.
Where's their window? Is it still open?
Well, Bokey's a bit older, and honestly, I love that man. That was shattering and hard to watch him in tears after the game. Robbie Gray's the same. Look, they're both 33. Will Ollie Wines have as good a year as he did? Aliir, you know, it doesn't just happen. You don't just front up next year and expect it to happen. But it's a funny thing because history repeats. 01-02, they finished top and didn't make a grand final. 04, they did make a grand final. Could they? I don't know. Yeah, honestly, I think it's too soon to do that, but we'll do that all on the show.
I reckon putting it all on the players, though, Rowie.
I'm putting it right at their feet.
But I don't think Port fans are. I think there's an absolute people are baying for blood about the coach's performance. And it almost feels to me like he's guilty of being the world's nicest bloke, but he lacks the sort of, you know, David Parkin, Alistair Clarkson style killer instinct to just really give him that extra bit of grunt to get him over the line. Probably a bit like Neil Craig.
See, I disagree with that, and it's a collective. You've got Michael Voss, you've got Montgomery, you've got Nathan Bassett. I mean, he swings from the rafters. You've got Ken Hinkley behind closed doors. They're brutal. It's a collective, that coaching group, and I'm laying it all at the feet of the players. They had to turn up. Ken said it brilliantly to us on Friday. He said to the media and everyone, we've had a near perfect preparation. We've had a week off. Now it's up to the boys to execute. They didn't execute. So who do you blame for that?
Well, I don't know.
Hey, social media's gone bunter. Can I just speak about this for a sec? Oh, look, I'm not on it, but I honestly, my phone rang off its hook with text and all from my colleagues yesterday. I know Crows supporters are going to pick over the carcass, but these are my two favourites. I know a camp they can go on. Have you heard that one? I mean, that's not a bad one. Dogs finally getting a chance to have a training run at Adelaide Oval. Now, we know that's a clever one because St Nicola wouldn't allow them. But honestly, this is what rivalry is.
I've got a suspicion, Rowie, that Saturday night was the best Crows fans have felt about football since the 2017 prelim final.
Without a doubt.
And if I'm wrong, someone tell me what the other highlight has been in that time.
Yeah, without a doubt. My mates were skipping in the street.
Yeah,
skipping, setting off firecrackers.
Statement. I look forward to hearing it. Hey, Rowie, the sports show's going to be massive tonight, mate. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, look, overnight Dan Ricciardo won the Monza, so we'll cover that. Bix and Stud are in live, and I'm looking forward to hearing Koshy with you guys a little after 8:30. I reckon the dogs will be barking. See you at 4.
Good on you, Rowie. Time is valuable. Ensure your vehicle receives rapid, accurate service with North Point Toyota Express Maintenance. It is the North Point way.
Overwhelming are the feelings of grief and loss. More so when you add the confusion and uncertainty of arranging a funeral. At Distinctive Funerals, we offer guidance through the hardest of times and clarity for the path ahead. distinctivefunerals.com.au.
If you're planning an event, whether it's a small meeting with the latest in reliable technology or a large gala dinner full of glitz and glamour, you'll experience event excellence on every level at the Adelaide Convention Centre. Excellence in understanding your needs and delivering them to exacting standards is what we do. And we don't just aim for excellence, we go beyond. So for your next excellent event, the team is ready and waiting at the Adelaide Convention Centre, the centre of event excellence.
When you holiday here this year, let Steam Ranger do the driving for you. Sit back, open your window and breathe in the country air as you ride behind vintage steam trains, classic diesels and heritage rail cars between Mount Barker, Bugle Ranges, Strathalbyn, Goolwa, Port Elliot and Victor Harbour, home to Steam Ranger's iconic cockle train. For tickets, times and travel dates, visit Steam Ranger online or on the line, with cockle train tickets available from the Goolwa, Port Elliot and Victor Harbour train stations.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 17 with the 7:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Peak hour hit too hard? For an RAA approved crash repair, contact Premier Panel Services.
Major delays for the morning commute courtesy of a burst water main in Mitcham. It's happened on Fullerton Road between Kitchener and Albert Streets, causing damage to the intersection of Carrick Hill Drive. Mike Lorrigan from 9 News is there and says it's a no-go zone.
The damage is significant. There are 2 massive sinkholes in the intersection now, and we were told by the MFS that it's likely this intersection will have to be ripped up and rebuilt.
The nation's former deputy medical officer says he's more worried about adults who aren't vaccinated than children. Parents are now able to book all teenagers in for a COVID vaccine. Australia's drug regulator and expert immunisation panels approve FIVEaa and Moderna for use in children over 12. But Dr Nick Coatsworth is told today the vaccination momentum among adults needs to be maintained.
The biggest burden on the healthcare system is going to come from adults. So every adult that remains unvaccinated in Australia is someone that's going to need to potentially be caught by the net of our healthcare system, the safety net, and that puts extra burden on the system. So I'm less worried about kids and I'm very worried about adults.
And from today, anyone over 60 can also book in for a Pfizer vaccination in SA as more supply comes online. The ballot for the latest round of Great State vouchers opens at 9 this morning. The focus is on tours and experiences with $100 and $200 vouchers on offer. SA Tourism Chief Rod Harrick says the previous rounds have been very successful.
We've had over $60 million basically stimulated through this program, in excess of 117,000 vouchers issued. The take-up has been phenomenal. South Australians are getting out and about to areas and parts of South Australia they've never been to.
Another round will open on Monday with a focus on accommodation. A man was airlifted to the RAH after falling about 20 metres down a waterfall at Mannum yesterday. Emergency crews were called to the upper waterfall on Cascade Road where they stabilised the 34-year-old. He was then winched to safety by the MedStar helicopter and taken to hospital. His injuries are not life-threatening. Outspoken Labor MP Joel Fitzgibbon will retire from politics at the next election. The New South Wales MP, who's been urging the party to reposition on issues like coal and gas, says he's proud of what he's achieved in office. On the eve of the first hearing in the civil suit against Prince Andrew in New York, it's still unclear how the royal family will tackle the explosive allegations. More from Nine's Michael Genovese.
The case against Prince Andrew was filed in a New York court. American Virginia Giuffre, who now lives in Queensland, says she was brought to the UK as a 17-year-old to have sex with the prince. He vehemently denies the claims. There's now debate over whether Prince Andrew has even been served the required legal papers. That'll be the focus of tomorrow's pre-trial hearing.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Save up to 15% on selected Asco cooking appliances at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. The Western Bulldogs have spent their first night in their new digs in Perth. They'll be in quarantine this week while their grand final opponents, Melbourne, are able to freely move about the community. But it's season over for Port Adelaide, who will be left to rue another missed opportunity after going down by 71 points against the Western Bulldogs on Saturday night. Let's go to tennis. Russia's Daniil Medvedev is just one set away from a maiden Grand Slam after taking the second set, 6-4 against world number one Novak Djokovic in the US Open final. He also won the first set 6-4, and he's now also got an early break of serve in the third set. Meantime, Australian wheelchair tennis star Dylan Alcott has secured the Golden Grand Slam after winning his third US Open title.
I used to hate myself so much. I hated my disability. I didn't even want to be here anymore, and I found tennis, and it changed and saved my life, and now I've become the only male ever in any form of tennis, I think, to win the Golden Slam, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, great stuff. Earlier in the night, Sam Stosur claimed the women's doubles title, partnering with Zhang Shui from China for the win. Daniel Ricciardo has celebrated his first Formula One victory in 3 years with a trademark shoey on the Italian Grand Prix podium. He finished ahead of teammate Lando Norris and Valtteri Bottas in Monza. Matilda's captain Sam Kerr has scored 2 goals in Chelsea's 4-0 thumping of Everton in the English Women's Super League. Meantime, Liverpool has jumped up to third on the EPL table following a 3-0 win over Leeds. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now to the traffic.
Is your BMW due for a service? Then book your service today at Glenelg BMW on Brighton Road.
At Seaton got a car v truck, and Tapley's Hill Road at Clark Terrace. Melrose Park got urgent electrical works there. That's on Dawes Road near South Road after an earlier collision to a Stobie pole. Mitcham this morning, Fullerton Road is blocked. That's due to a burst water main. That's between Albert and Kitchener. Best idea is to take Blythewood this morning to avoid delays and look out for cameras. Fosters Road, Hillcrest and Grey Terrace at Rosewater. Get a road trip ready these school holidays with Bow Repairs. Get your tyres fitted in 30 minutes or you get a tyre free. Visit bowrepairs.com.au. Selected stores, T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Head to Foodland, Drake's or IGA for Nutrimate, a new dog roll loaded with healthy nutrients.
Partly cloudy and 17 today, more of the same tomorrow, then partly cloudy Wednesday, 21, warmer on Thursday, 26, and showers for Friday down to 22. At the moment, 7. More news as it happens on 5AA.
I used to think a good day on the golf course was coming home with more than one golf ball. But my game has really stepped up thanks to Shane from Drummond Golf.
Hi Tom, how's the handicap going?
Well, I've been personally my-matched by you, and I'm hitting longer, straighter and higher than I ever have before. You and your team have really got my game sorted.
We want people to love golf as much as we do. Just like we did for you, Tom, we put you through the My Match process to pick the right clubs for you. We also do lessons at the driving range and kit them out in the best gear, all aimed to reduce their handicap.
Well, it has worked a treat for me. I cannot recommend it enough. Go and see the team at Drummond Golf. Thank you again, Shane. Enfield, Darlington, Myland, Tetra Gully and the West Beach driving range.
Overwhelming are the feelings of grief and loss. At Distinctive Funerals, we offer guidance through the hardest of times and clarity for the path ahead. distinctivefunerals.com.au.
For veranda sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes to 8. David and Will's grand final bonanza. I'm not giving too much away to suggest that, considering we didn't play it in the first half hour of this hour, we're probably going to be playing it the second half hour of this hour. So very shortly, your chance to win tickets, flights, accommodation to the AFL Grand Final in Perth. You just need to wait to hear the bonanza music. When you hear it, call 8223 0000. You get on there and you're in the draw.
Joining us now, the Premier of South Australia, Steve Marshall. Premier, good morning and thank you for your time.
Good morning, Dave. Good morning, Will. And good morning to your listeners. And yes, I'm looking forward to the Ashes at the end of the year.
It's not all about football, I guess, is it? But commiserations.
It's a devastating result, wasn't it?
I don't think anyone saw it coming. Did you go?
No. No, I was sort of in solidarity with all of those diehard supporters who couldn't get a ticket to the game. But obviously watched it. But
all the way to the very end.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Hey, you're aware that a few people have blamed your government for the loss. Are you aware of this? The decision to allow the Bulldogs to train at all on the Adelaide Oval.
It's outrageous. I'll be speaking to Professor Sperry this morning. She's cost me a trip over to Perth. Very annoying.
Hey, you made some comments yesterday, Premier, about the roadmap out of lockdown.
Yeah.
Can I just tease this out a bit? Because I'm just trying to work out what it means in a practical sense. When you talk about how we're going to shift from a sort of statewide closure strategy, border closure strategy for affected states to a more LGA-specific approach, what would that mean in real terms? Because there's still thousands and thousands of COVID cases, particularly in inner city Sydney and also in inner city Melbourne. For parents who've got kids living over in the eastern states, and there's a lot of them here in SA, should they sort of approach your pledge with a degree of caution? Because it sounds like you're leaving the door open to still stopping people from affected areas from coming back to SA.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit more like what we saw in the sort of the early stages of this with the Alpha strain last year, where we might say, well, look, there's some exposure sites here at Logan, or this LGA will be locked out, but we won't have the whole state of New South Wales locked out. So that's the approach that we're looking to adopt, and that's certainly the advice that we've received at the National Cabinet, that we can make that transition. But you can't do it now. If you did it now, you'd essentially just putting South Australia into a lockdown within a couple of days with community transmissions going rife. And if you didn't put your state into lockdown at the moment, of course, it would overwhelm your health system almost immediately. But we do know that this is essentially the disease of the unvaccinated. And as we increase that vaccination rate, we massively reduce the transmission. We massively reduce the likelihood of people contracting the disease. But even if they do, there's a very, very significantly diminished chance that they're going to end up in hospital or on a ventilator or ultimately die from the disease. So we've got to get people vaccinated. We're over halfway there at the moment, with more than 40% of our population double vaccinated. But Doherty says really you've got to get to 80% of your 16s and over who are double vaccinated to give the state the best chance of being able to deal with it. But I've got to emphasise there's not going to be a freedom day where every single restriction is removed. When people do get diagnosed with this, we're still going to be putting them into isolation, their close contacts into isolation. We don't want this to just run through our state, but it's a very different scenario once you have 80% of your population vaccinated.
What constitutes an LGA of concern?
Well, that's still to be determined at the National Cabinet level, but I predict it will be pretty similar to where it was last year, where there were cases of community transmission. So I think we'll see this very significantly reduce. The forecasters, the sort of health modellers are telling us that New South Wales, Victoria will hit their peak in a couple of weeks' time, but then we'll see a steady decline. So it's being updated the entire time. We have Professor Jodie McBurnan from the Doherty Institute with us at all of our meetings now, and she provides us with that update. And we've also got the ability to do some of our own modelling state by state, and we're asked Doherty to do that, and that's coming through. But all I know is that we are going to, I think, have a fairly normal Christmas as long as we can get that vaccination rate up. And we've also got to make sure that we've got balance with that vaccination. We can't just hit the 80%, but have some of our LGAs, with very high levels and some with pretty low levels.
Just to that end, just to drill down on that point that you've just made then, a fairly normal Christmas. A few of the people that have texted us this morning have said, well, why would we trade open borders for potential lockdowns? Does the period of open borders, as you've described it this morning, coincide with the end of lockdowns? Does one open up the possibility of the other, or if one's open, does that mean we're beyond the period of lockdowns?
Yeah, so look, as you could appreciate, we needed to have state lockdowns with the Delta variant. Otherwise, we would just be having a permanent state of lockdown like we've had, or like we've seen, I should say, in New South Wales and Victoria. But as we get to 80%, that should really spell the end of state lockdowns, unless there's an extreme situation. But it should also spell the end of state lockouts, where we lock entire states out as we just sort of move to a more nuanced approach. So, look, that's what the modellers tell us can occur. The good news is, look, we're a couple of months behind where they are in the Northern Hemisphere, so we can look at what they're doing. We're obviously further behind where they are in New South Wales and Victoria, so we can see how they're tracking. We're not going to do anything to put our state into danger whatsoever, but we do need to manage this transition. We do need to live with this disease. We can't do that until we get to a much higher vaccination rate than we're at the moment. But when we do, we are going to be able to, I think, move to a more normal set of state border arrangements.
Premier, just finally, are you aware of the case of the 12-year-old girl Lillian Anderson at Loretto College, who's a boarder? Her family live in a remote New South Wales community. They've been getting the runaround, as have other kids who are boarders, in terms of being able to get home to spend time with their parents in the school holidays. Have you done anything about that case?
Personal case. I mean, I think there's more than 7,000 people that are trying to get across borders in or out of South Australia at the moment. It's a pretty devastating scene, but nobody's going to thank us for letting their daughter or their son come in, or their auntie or uncle come in, and then it sets off a statewide lockdown. Don't forget the last statewide lockdown was an 81-year-old who'd already had a vaccination, not both vaccinations, but had a single vaccination, had done 14 days of hotel quarantine, got it in the airport. Presumably, we think he got it in the airport, came here and put us into a statewide lockdown for 7 days.
Yeah, well, this girl's parents are fully vaccinated. They could drive from their farm 250 k's north of Broken Hill, pick her up with a full tank of petrol. They wouldn't need to get out of the car. They could drive home, and SA Health has said no to that.
Yeah, look, I don't have the details of that.
Why don't you have the detail, though?
Well, as I said, there's more than 7,000 at the moment cases like this, and look, they are harsh border arrangements, but I don't want the Delta variant in my state, and so we leave all of those things up to SA Health, and they do take a pretty conservative, prudent approach, and these situations are devastating, but so are lockdowns.
Premier Stephen Marshall, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks.
That case, I think the situation that girl and her family are in, I think it's a total indictment on both the Premier and the opposition leader, who's been totally silent about that case as well. She's not going to bring the Delta variant into South Australia. She's a 12-year-old girl who lives on a farm 250 kilometres northeast of Broken Hill. And we used to live in a country where politicians would identify, of both sides, politicians would identify areas of government failure. Premiers would pick up the phone and say, hey, listen, this doesn't pass the front bar test. Oppositions were all over stories like that too, like a cheap suit, because they could see an act of bureaucratic incompetence or cruelty. And now we're at a point as a society where we come up with fatuous garbage along the lines of, well, we don't want the Delta variant being brought into South Australia. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the fact that Mick and Britt Anderson, both of them fully vaccinated sheep farmers, can fill up their car with a full tank of petrol. They can drive to Adelaide. They can go to Portrush Road. They can ring the school. They can ring the head of the boarding school there, Mrs. Houston, at Loretto College, and say, we're here to pick up our 12-year-old daughter, Lil. Bring her out. Lil comes out, gets in the car, goes back to the farm. They don't stop to fill up petrol in Tailem Bend like other people have, the truckies and so forth. They come here and they go home. Why can't that be fixed?
Well, you heard something of an explanation just then.
And where's the opposition on this?
Well, I suspect...
It's pathetic. It's disgusting.
When their job is public opinion, maybe your assessment earlier in the program that more than 50% of people don't want borders to open is right. And maybe more than 50% of people listening to that story don't care.
well, we're not all in this together, because if she was a movie star or if she was an AFL footballer trying to keep the season alive, a solution would have been found, because, you know, SA Health has had urgent talks with the SMA about keeping the footy season going. I could not believe it. I spoke to the principal of Loreto College. What a superbly impressive woman she was. Her quotes in the story about this were extraordinary. We should try to get her on the show this week, because the damage that this is doing to those kids is disgusting.
Time to check traffic. Is your BMW due for a service? Well, then book your service today. Glenelg BMW on Brighton Road.
At Prospect at a Carvey light truck on Main North Road near Harvey Street. Seaton Carvey truck there, Tapley's Hill Road at Clark Terrace. Melrose Park electrical works after an early collision on Dawes Road near South Road. And Mitcham, burst water main Fullerton Road. That's closed both directions between Albert and Kitchener. Best advice is to take Blythewood Road to avoid delays. Look out for cameras, Marshall Terrace, Brooklyn Park and North East Road at St Agnes. Banks do banking, SmartPay do FPOS. Zero cost FPOS. No more terminal rental, no more merchant fees. Visit smartpay.com.au. Minimum turnover and T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hi, Bronte Manuel from Toop and Toop. Spring has long been the most popular time for buying and selling homes in Adelaide. Property values here are already at record high levels, but there's every chance they'll continue to grow as more buyers enter the market. As more homes hit the market, there's increased competition, and that means it's even more important to get expert advice. With almost 40 years of Adelaide sales success, Toop and Toop knows what it takes to achieve premium results. Thinking of selling? Go to toop.com.au.
Hi, I'm Izzy, and my family runs St. Louis Home Care, which was started by my great-grandma 75 years ago. I wanted to introduce you to Deb, a carer and our receptionist. She's great.
Hi, Izzy.
Deb, you've been at St. Louis for 10 years. What do you love about it?
Oh, it's a great family-friendly environment and everyone's happy.
That's because St. Louis got them covered.
With everything from shopping and meals to gardening and home maintenance.
And don't forget the social activities. Google St. Louis Home Care to find out how my family can help take care of yours.
Grab your best mates in these great rates, then get ready, save and go to the NT now. With Mates Rates packages, you can save up to $1,000 per person.
Packages start from $399 per person for a 3-night Alice Springs Noolaroo getaway to complete Red Centre holidays, including Kings Canyon, Catajuda, West McDonnell Ranges and more.
The Red Centre is wide open and it's ready, save, go to the NT now. Book now and travel to April 2022.
It's your last chance. This sale will finish at the end of the month. If you've been thinking about visiting Central Australia, now is the time to do it.
That's right. Search NT Now. Book online at ntnow.com.au or call 1800 854 897.
We've all been on the road trip from hell. Car breaks down, map says go this way, but you went that way, and countless are we there yet? The same can be said for home renos. Nobody wants a nightmare on their way to a stunning new kitchen or bathroom. So if you want everything to go according to plan, go with Buy Urban. They've always believed the journey is just as important as the destination. Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts. Visit buyurban.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 to 8, Millie Mulcahy in just a second. Oh dear, here we go. It's bonanza time. 8223 is the number. If you want to win grand final tickets, you need to call in right now. 8223 is the number. 2 minutes every hour of the program for the entire week. We put 10 people in the draw during the first part of the show. Kim, good morning. Where are you, Kim?
Good morning.
Kim, where are you?
I'm here.
Okay, that'll do. Kim's here.
Kim
Thanks,
from here.
Jill, good morning. Where are you, Jill?
Woodville.
Good on you, Jill.
Woodville.
Let's go to Jack. Where are you, Jack?
Oh, the sister. Jack, up in the hills.
Jack's up in the hills.
Man.
Thank you, Jack. Good to get up in the hills. Let's go to Rosemary. Morning to you, Rosemary. Where are you?
Hallett Cove.
Hallett Cove. Who are you going from the grand final, Rosemary?
Oh, God knows. I'm a Port supporter.
Oh, no.
Our heart goes out to you, Rosemary.
Well, good on you for still wanting to go along. Still be a great weekend. Flights, accommodation, it's all included. Julie, good morning.
Hi.
Where are you, Julie?
North Haven.
You're in North Haven. Well,
North
Julie,
Haven.
you're now also in the running for David Will's Grand Final Bonanza. Vince, good morning.
How are you?
Good, thanks,
mate.
Vince.
Where are you, Vince?
Oh, I'm actually driving at the moment. I'm an Uber driver.
You're an Uber driver. Well, we'll let you get back to work, Vince. Guess what, mate? You're also in the running to be off to Perth for the Grand Final. Sam, good morning. Where are you?
Good morning, Woodville South.
You're in Woodville South. Who are you going for on the GF, Sam?
Melbourne.
Going for Melbourne. Okay, thank you very much. Let's go to Sue. We've got 19 seconds left. Morning, Sue.
Hello,
Where are you from?
Valley View.
Lovely work.
Lovely.
Thank you, Sue. Karina, good morning.
Good morning. I'm from Badum.
Oh, lovely work, Karina. Didn't even need to ask the question. That was excellent. Deborah, good morning.
Good morning.
Where are you, Deborah?
I'm currently in Prospect.
Oh, well, that'll count. Thank you, Deborah.
Deborah, currently in Prospect.
Felt dramatic with the end of the Bonanza theme there, but Deborah's in the running. So stay
Did you 10
listening.
again?
Next hour, another chance, 2 minutes for your chance to win tickets to the GF. Amelia Mulcahy's got the weather today here in Adelaide for us. Morning, Amelia.
Gosh, good morning. That was a real bonanza just then.
Yeah, it always is.
It's a real bonanza feel about it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I thought you were going
we
to try to enter, Amelia.
No, not me. We had a real cold weather bonanza over the weekend. There's my seg there. Smooth. A real cold outbreak over the weekend. It really felt super wintry yesterday. In fact, I have just seen on the Visit Adelaide Hills Instagram account video of snow at Mount Lofty yesterday afternoon. Little snow flurry. It would have been, based on the observations, it dropped to around 2 degrees at 2:30 yesterday at Mount Lofty. So it would have been around then if it did happen. But yeah, we always love to see that little flurry over there. Now, certainly a cold start in the city this morning as well, down to 3.7 degrees just after 6 o'clock, 2.1 at Elizabeth, 1.2 at Newry, 0.7 at Roseworthy, and Woodner was one of the coldest places, down to -2.9 degrees. So certainly some icy conditions to kick off the day. There is the odd shower around this morning as well, mainly about sort of those southern suburbs. There's, one just sort of rolling into Sellex right now. So with a bit of cloud around, you can't really rule out the shower about the hills and southern suburbs this morning. But we should see a bit of sunshine at times too. By definition, the Bureau's definition of a partly cloudy day is cloud cover over 30 to 60% of the sky. So we will still see a bit of sunshine at times as well today too. Going for a top of 17 degrees. Similar day tomorrow as well, up to 21 Wednesday. Thursday is my pick of the week. The birds like that one too, up to 26 degrees. And then we're expecting those showers to return by Friday into the weekend. So we still haven't really got that routine quite right. But, we do have a bit of sunshine on the way this week
That's
too.
something to look forward to. Thank you, Amelia. Amelia Mulcahy from 7 News. It's time for John Blake, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, Interstate Freight Distribution, Warehousing and Local Adelaide Couriers. Call Aussie Fast, 13 13 64.
Now, the latest news with Wallace Fogg. Good morning, early risers. This is Wallace Fogg with another 5AA News Update. Former US President Donald Trump says Port Adelaide was robbed and deserves a recount, which would expose the true result. There's also speculation this morning that Western Bulldogs coach Luke Beveridge colluded with Vladimir Putin to secure the win, but this has been dismissed by most pundits as being a bit far-fetched. Port Adelaide coach Ken Hinkley said there were encouraging signs at Adelaide Oval on Saturday night, although admittedly this was from the crowd during Never Tear Us Apart. He went on to say that he was very disappointed with the crowd's later performance because they went very quiet and some went home. A Port Adelaide official said they'll be spending the off-season searching for a replacement for INXS's Never Tear Us Apart. Some of the suggestions so far are Pick Up the Pieces by the Average White Band, Till We Meet Again by Bing Crosby, and Girls Just Want to Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper. Port Adelaide President David Koch said after the game that he can't tell what the future will hold, but he's looking forward to going into business with Ken Hinkley promoting hair care products. In other news, South Australian Chief Medical Officer Nicholas Spurrier has announced that Father Christmas and his elves are inching ever closer to their 80% vaccination rate. He said Santa and Mrs Claus are both AstraZeneca double-jabbed and announced that the Pfizer vaccine has now been approved for all elves 3'6" and under. And finally this morning, SAPOL has released a statement saying that charges against Port Adelaide players for not singing the national anthem at the start of the prelim final on Saturday night will not be pursued, as they don't have enough proof the players refused to sing. They may have just not known the words. And that's the latest for this Monday morning. I'm Wallace Fogg. More 5AA news coming up at 8 o'clock, or as close as we can get.
A minute away from the 5AA news at 8 o'clock. Remember, after 8, your chance again for 2 minutes to call in and be put in the draw to win tickets to the AFL Grand Final.
What's on your bucket list? Parachuting? Climbing Everest? Swimming with sharks? There's one thing that should be on everyone's bucket list: a will and estate plan. A will, power of attorney, and advanced care directive speak for you when you can't. They look after you and your loved ones. A will and estate plan drawn up by Donlan Lawyers is peace of mind for everyone. For wills and estate planning, contact Donlan Lawyers or visit donlanlawyers.com. Put it on your bucket list.
For 37 years, Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth a trip. They are Adelaide's small SUV specialists. Located in Gawler with late model Tucson, ASX, RAV4 or the Forester, Trax, Kona and more available now. Perfect for the growing tribe with lots of space, safety features and economical to run. With 60 SUVs in stock, Steinborner Gawler has you covered. View all our used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth a trip.
Now listen up, if you snore, suffer from cramps or restless legs, this could be the answer to all your problems. Get yourself an Ultramatic adjustable bed.
Ultramatic beds are improving people's lives all over SA. Great quality with a super comfortable mattress made right here, along with outstanding German technology in their electric motors. They've even got a zero gravity position.
And what about this? This is the best part. Because the Royal Show's not going ahead, they've got heaps of stock ready to go at show prices. You can get a fully adjustable single electric bed for just $24,990 delivered. That's an incredible saving.
You also receive up to 50% off selected ResMed CPAP products. And just so you know, today's CPAP machines are extremely quiet and they're more comfortable than ever.
So call into the Ultramatic showroom just opposite the giant fiberglass Scotsman there at the Scotty's Motel. Sail on while stocks last.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 17 with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Hit. Car scuffle driving to work? Contact Premier Panel Services, RAA approved crash repairer.
A burst water main is causing peak hour chaos in Mitcham. It's happened on Fullerton Road near the intersection of Carrick Hill Drive, with motorists told to find another route. Michael Oregon from 9 News is there and says there are 2 huge sinkholes in the intersection.
Around 20 or so properties have been damaged through this. Several of them have been seriously damaged, and this has been a very, very long night for residents.
Parents will be able to book their children in for a COVID vaccine from today. Australia's drug regulator and expert immunisation panels approve FIVEaa and Moderna for use in kids over 12. It comes as more young people are catching the Delta variant, with some needing hospital treatment. And slight new freedoms are now in place for Sydney's fully vaccinated adults. Sydney residents outside the hotspots can now gather in groups of 5 outside, albeit within 5 k's of home, and wearing masks. New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian says there's also an easing of rules for those in the hotspots.
Local government areas of concern, it remains you exercise within your household or with one other person, so 2 maximum. However, in areas outside of local government area of concern, 5 people are able to come together, 5 adults, and that excludes children under 12.
And more money is being made available to SA businesses impacted by COVID. Treasurer Rob Lucas says for the first time, bigger firms will be able to receive grants of up to $20,000.
This particular grant round is targeted to tourism and hospitality, creative industries, taxis, those industries which have been particularly hard hit by the border closures in between the states which rely on interstate travel.
And as Australian governments move towards vaccine passports for those who are fully vaccinated, the British government suddenly scrapped the idea. More from Nine's Brett McLeod.
England was expected to join countries such as France in making proof of vaccines or a negative COVID test mandatory for getting into public venues such as nightclubs. But the scheme has now been dumped by Boris Johnson's government under pressure from the entertainment industry and some of the Prime Minister's own MPs. Some private businesses are still running their own no vaccine, no entry policy. One survey showing 10% of the UK population has been asked to prove their COVID status in recent weeks. And Premier League clubs are moving towards checks for all fans at matches by the end of the month.
A woman has been reported following a pursuit in the western suburbs yesterday. Her car was spotted driving through the heart of Port Adelaide on its rims. Police followed the car to North Haven, where the 40-year-old from Grange was detained. She's been reported for a number of traffic offences, including driving dangerously to escape police, and will face court at a later date. High-profile Labor MP Joel Fitzgibbon has confirmed he's quitting federal parliament. He's represented the New South Wales Hunter for the past 25 years. And 15 new body scanning machines are being rolled out to help improve skin cancer diagnosis and treatment. They will scan thousands of patients over the next 5 years as part of a study to devise a new diagnosis algorithm for melanoma. Australian Cancer Research Foundation's Dr Ian Brown says the data will help scientists investigate moles and lesions which could become problematic.
Because it's whole body imaging, it means that they can come back in 3 months or 6 months' time to see whether any other changes have actually occurred with any moles or lesions on their body, so that they can not only determine whether there are potential at-risk lesions or moles, but they can also follow whether or not they change over time.
Now turning to FIVEaa Sport.
Save up to $800 on selected Asco washer dryer packages. Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
And here's Tom Wren. And Tom, we have a new US Open champion.
We certainly do, and it's not the man everyone was expecting, Kendall. It is Russia's Daniil Medvedev, who has just won his maiden Grand Slam, beating Novak Djokovic in 3 sets to claim that US Open title. He claimed it 6...
There it is. Daniil Medvedev makes his own history at the US Open, his first major title.
Yeah, fantastic result. The result denies Djokovic the calendar Grand Slam. Well, West Aussie Daniel Ricciardo has won the Italian Grand Prix, claiming his first victory for McLaren. Ricciardo says he's not surprised to return to the top after 3 years without a win.
I'm not surprised standing here. I'm certainly overwhelmed and I'm on cloud 9 right now, but I'm honestly not surprised. Just there was something in me that I knew that if we had a chance this weekend, we were going to take it, whether that was the win or a podium.
Meantime, Jack Miller has finished 5th in the Aragon MotoGP event overnight, which was won by Italian Francesco Bagnaia. Port Adelaide's players will begin the fallout from a disappointing finish to the season today at Alberton. The Power smashed by 71 points at home by the Bulldogs on Saturday night. Meantime, Brisbane's Dane Zorko has claimed his 5th best and fairest award overnight for the Lions. And one game in the English Premier League with Liverpool 3-0 winners against a 10-man Leeds. The result lifts the Reds up to 3rd spot. And that's the FIVEaa Sport.
Now let's check traffic.
Glenelg BMW is now open on Brighton Road. Drop in and see Adelaide's newest home for BMW.
At Prospect, got a car v light truck on Main North Road near Harvey Street. Seaton, car v truck on Tapley's Hill Road at Clark Terrace. Melrose Park, electrical works after an early collision, Dawes Road near South Road. And Mitcham got a burst water main Fullerton Road. That's closed both directions between Albert and Kitchener. Take Blythewood Road from Old Belair Road as you're heading in this morning. Look out for cameras. Frederick Road Grange, Fawcett Road at Hillcrest. Australia Post is doing everything they can to safely and quickly deliver for Australia. To easily track and control your deliveries, download the Australia Post app today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEaa.
Head to Foodland, Drake's or IGA for Nutrimate, a new dog roll loaded with healthy nutrients.
Partly cloudy and 17 today, more of the same tomorrow. Partly cloudy again for Wednesday, 21, and warmer on Thursday up to 26. At the moment, 9. More news as it happens on FIVEaa.
If you run a small business, then you know how the busy got in business. You have to juggle so many apps, different tools and spreadsheets just to take care of admin. That's why you need Thrive, the all-in-one management software built for small business. Thrive lets you manage marketing, scheduling, invoicing and more, all from one place. Search Thrive, THRYV, today.
Don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
9 minutes after 8, David Koch coming up after 8:30 today. The host of Channel 7 Sunrise program will join us. We'll talk footy. We'll talk a bit about the Sunrise edict that people that work on the show will have to be vaccinated. It's been a heavy influence on that story in the Oz this morning, so we'll get into all that. But first, it's time for our weekend real estate wrap with Susanna Toop from Toop & Toop. Morning to you, Susanna.
Good morning, guys.
What happened on the weekend?
Look, we had some great results at auction this weekend in Pennington, Prospect and Norwood. So the property in Norwood was just 500 square metres of land and it sold for $1.44 million. So that's almost $3,000 a square metre. If we look at what prices were doing 18 months ago for land in Norwood, they were sitting at around $1,600, $1,700 a square metre. So it's almost doubled right now than it was before the pandemic 18 months or so ago. So a really standout auction there in Norwood.
Susanna, also, there's been a lot of coverage and we've spoken several times about the shortage of rental properties right now, but just how tight are things out there at the moment?
Now, looking at industry data, what we're experiencing at the moment is the lowest number of properties available to rent in almost 10 years. In mid-January 2017, at its peak, Adelaide had about 5,000 rental properties available. And since then, this number's been gradually trending downwards. So as of last week, there's only 1,950 properties available to rent across Adelaide. So it's about a 60% reduction from what we were seeing back in 2017. So it really just shows that there is a huge supply shortage at the moment of rental properties. But the good news for tenants is that come December, January, sort of in the warmer months, we do typically see an influx of rental properties come on the market. We are hoping that that will be the case again this year, just to give a bit of that relief to the market, because it's almost 60% less than 2017. It's just no wonder a lot of tenants are struggling to find rental properties at the moment.
Susanna, thank you. Susanna Toop from Toop & Toop Real Estate with our weekend real estate wrap. So per square metre, prices have doubled in Norwood in 18 months.
Amazing, isn't it?
How many people's wages have doubled in the last 18 months over the pandemic?
Nobody's. How many people's wages have stayed the same?
Yeah, that's probably a victory.
In the private sector?
That's probably a victory. Have you just been staying where you're at? You see, you've moved further away from being able to buy a house significantly. It's something that feels decidedly unsustainable about that current model. 11 after 8, it's time for Breaking It 8.
Well, things are about to come to a head for Philip Martin, who is obviously Adelaide City Councillor, and indeed with all the mayhem that has been sheeted home largely to him in the last few weeks, he's still decided to announce that he's going to be running for Lord Mayor at the next City Council elections. Well, it looks like he's definitely going to have a public apology as led in his saddlebags when he makes his tilt to be the head honcho there at City Hall. My understanding is that tomorrow night, the code of conduct breaches that he has been accused of, well, rather found guilty of, through the council's procedures, these go to his undermining of council decisions and projects, and also the fact that he's been identified as a risk on the council's risk register in terms of the council's inability to attract and sustain investors. His public comments have been accused of resulting in a loss of $40 million worth of investment over remarks he made about a $400 million shopping tower. On that basis, the council is going to move tomorrow night to compel Mr. Martin to publicly apologise for his conduct within the next 2 council meetings. My understanding is that the majority view on the council is that he should. Whether he does or not remains to be seen. I'm not sure the extent to which a motion would compel him to make that apology, but within the next day and a bit, he's going to be in a position where the view of the council is that he should, and we'll see how it all plays out from there.
30 minutes after 8, we've got grand final tickets and a full experience to give away by Friday of this week. And the way we're doing it is simple. We play Bonanza, the theme for 2 minutes each and every hour of the program. We've done it twice today. We must have somewhere in the order of 20 people already in the running to win that competition. When you hear it, it's simple. You just need to get calling 8223 0000. That's you, that's your friends, that's your family members, your postman, your butcher, anyone you have casual acquaintance with. If you want to be in the running, you need as many people to call in as possible over the course of this week. 8223 0000. You got a 2 minute window in which to do it. And as if people have already found out, you got to be quick. It goes really fast, that 2 minutes. We've got one more chance for you to be in the draw coming up a little bit later this hour. Let's read some of these texts out, David, because there's a stack of them that have come out subsequent to our interview with the Premier, Stephen Marshall, on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line.
Almost all of them go to the case that we raised about 12-year-old Lillian Anderson, who is in her very first year as a boarder at Loretto College. She's only just completed School of the Air, living on the family sheep farm there, 250 kilometres northeast of Broken Hill. Here's one. Good on you for pushing the case of the girl wanting to go home. Keep it up, from Peter. One here, if the schoolgirl can't go home, why are we all getting vaccinated? That's from Graham. Carol says, guys, the thing that disgusts me most about border closures are those refused entry back to their own homes. This is not Australia. The most recent outbreak was caused by an 80-year-old who did not go into quarantine when he returned to SA. This was the fault of SA Health, who did not direct him to do that. So now they're covering up their own mistakes by going full lockout of people who will obviously go out of their way not to put people at risk. SA Health long ago abandoned health advice when they allowed the interstate footballers in, yet locked their own people out. Marshall should know about this schoolgirl family, and they wonder why people are over it all. One here, how can you expect the Premier to intervene personally on this case when you so openly chastise Mark McGowan for being personally involved with the Eddie Maguire case? It seems like you changed your principles to suit your opinion at the time. One here, Dave and Will, thank you for advocating for the rural family and their daughter who attends Loretto. Mr. Marshall was once a boarding house master. He should understand the importance of a boarder being able to go back home. From Meg. One, Rick in Aldinga Beach. Pembo well said, this is all about politics, not science. When is safe, safe? One here from Fred. All Stephen Marshall has done for the last 18 months is hide behind medical advice. He wouldn't be able to make a decision if his life depended on it, and he hasn't got the guts. I agree with you, David. Overwhelmingly, the opinions are in favour of someone having a look at this girl's case and trying to bring a bit of common sense to it.
All right, let's check traffic. Is your BMW due for a service? Then book your service today. Glenelg BMW on Brighton Road.
Melrose Park got urgent electrical works after an earlier collision. That's Stores Road near South Road. Mitcham burst water main on Fullerton Road. That's closed both directions between Albert and Kitchener. Take Blythewood Road to avoid delays. And Crafers, all lanes now open into the city. Got the left-hand lane closed on the up track. Speeds at 60 k's. Whatever the industry, whatever the workwear, Totally Workwear can help. For workwear for tradies through to uniforms for nurses, head to Totally Workwear, Australia's largest workwear supplier. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Like the Clydesdales at Victor, or our loveless pair of pandas. From crossing the bridge to a showdown, to the serene Murray River. Things that make our fine state. It's who we are. Local, iconic, proud. There is SASAA. Live, local, and always informing Adelaide. 5AA.
Hey, do you want to go on a holiday?
I'm not going anywhere without a queen-size bed, full ensuite with separate shower, kitchen, washing machine and a heater. Hey, where are you going?
Dave Benson Caravans.
For your next holiday, hit the road with Dave Benson Caravans and start living the dream. Dave Benson Caravans, Australia's largest indoor caravan showroom. Grand Junction Road, Kilburn, or visit davebensoncaravans.com.au.
Palmitoyl ethanolamide. It's a word almost as long as the alphabet, but you don't need to know how to pronounce it, just that it helps minimise the effect of chronic pain. At Green Dispensary, they call it PEA for short, or P. P is a natural fatty acid our body produces to combat pain and inflammation. Sometimes the body doesn't produce enough. At Green Dispensary, you'll find a pea supplement that may help you produce more and ease pain. Green Dispensary, 4 locations over Adelaide.
As experts in hearing care, Specsavers Audiology know that when shopping for hearing aids, you need upfront information to make the right decision, because hearing aids need to fit your needs, lifestyle and budget. That's why Specsavers provide upfront prices on great value hearing aids online and in-store, even before your appointment. And it pays to shop around. Some Specsavers customers say they saved half the price quoted elsewhere on top of the range hearing aids. Specsavers Audiology for upfront prices and straight-up advice. Visit specsavers.com.au/hearing. That website one more time, specsavers.com.au/hearing.
Dr. Greg Keane explains how SportsMed puts patients first every day.
SportsMed is different. We have a clinic and hospital with specialists, doctors, physios and podiatrists all together in one location. There's also pathology, radiology, pharmacy and a cafe. This makes life easier for our patients because their appointments can all happen right here. It also lets us diagnose issues quickly, leading to high quality, cost-effective care.
And their patients love it. SportsMed.
Start living life again with our expert help.
Sportsmed.com.au.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
For verandas, sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
9 minutes after 8, the observation made on the Telstra Still Mount Barker text line that the Prime Minister can fly between the ACT and New South Wales, but a 12-year-old school student can't go home to a farm and vaccinated parents. Lots of observations like that coming through. 044808 1395 is the number. The host of Channel 7 Sunrise program, David Koch, is coming up after 8:30. If you're a Port fan with a question about where the club's headed, this is the man to speak to. And he'll be hearing those questions put to him after 8:30. Make sure you let us know them.
Only on 5AA Breakfast. Well, one of the unnerving and frightening things about the pandemic, aside from the obvious health impact that it's had on so many people's lives, is the extent to which it showed that Australia has become less good at making stuff. And particularly here in South Australia, which was for a long time the manufacturing hub of the nation. We saw that when it came to things like personal protective equipment, even things like masks, we had to do this mad scramble to retool existing businesses so that we could achieve a kind of self-reliance. Well, there's an organisation called the Australian Sovereign Capability Alliance that's headed up by former Liberal leader and Wetherill Government Minister Martin Hamilton-Smith that's commissioned some excellent research by Flinders Uni to look at this problem. Martin Hamilton-Smith is on the line now. Martin, good morning and good to be chatting to you. Tell us about the research and what it's found.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Well, you're spot on, David, with the shock of the pandemic revealing that we can't make things that are essential in a crisis, and you ran through some of them, and you'd have to add in there pharmaceuticals, drugs, vaccines. Well, it turns out the problem is far bigger than that. For example, oil. We're supposed to keep 90 days of our essential diesel and petrol in storage here. We've got a fraction of that. If anything interrupted the flow of ships from Singapore, we'd probably be running out of fuel within a week. Then you've got a defence where there's uncertainty about whether we can operate some of our aircraft and ships without being dependent on another country. There's problems with energy. And we've lost that ability to manufacture things. It turns out that nearly everything we export is minerals, food commodities and so on, excellent, but we haven't matched that terrific performance with manufacturing. In fact, in the OECD, we're the most dependent of every country in the Organisation of Economic Development on manufacturers. We rely more than anyone else on importing things from overseas. So we need to be more resilient, and the report that Flinders have done really goes through all of that in detail and makes some really clear recommendations on how we need to fix it.
Paper masks and cotton masks are one thing. Sovereign capability is a much bigger question. What's the low-hanging fruit? Where does the conversation start? What is the first thing we need to start making?
Well, we certainly need to be able to either produce or store everything we might need in a crisis. We've had the pandemic. We could have a conflict, a war or a conflict in the grey zone, natural disasters. We don't want to be running out of fuel. We don't want the lights going out. We don't want to find suddenly our mobile phones and cloud storage lost because it's all held overseas. We basically need to be a smart economy that can produce the things we must have in an emergency. And I think what we could do is leverage off that to reinvent manufacturing, because there's billions of dollars set aside in a modern manufacturing strategy and various other places like Research Council grants, and both sides of politics have various funds they've established. And that money needs to be deployed to reinvent manufacturing, and we can start with making sure we can produce the essential things we need in a crisis. And fuel really stands out, petroleum really stands out, energy stands out, of course communications. We're very good at inventing things. Take Wi-Fi. The CSIRO, Australian scientists and researchers, really invented Wi-Fi, but we sell it off overseas and somebody else gets the value add and turns that into a global product and makes all the money out of it. So this issue of being able to stand on our own 2 feet as a sovereign nation and be assured that in a crisis we can make or have control of all the things we need is absolutely vital, and there are some big gaps. And the report identifies many of those gaps, and there's more work to be done on looking at the supply chains in all of our key areas to find out what's missing and what we need to fix.
Certainly is a wake-up call, and just in closing, one of the other things the report recommends is that the Commonwealth have a dedicated minister for Australian sovereign capability so that we can take stock of all of this stuff. Martin Hamilton-Smith, thank you so much for joining us this morning on 5AA.
24 minutes after 8, Victoria have just recorded 473 new COVID cases, their biggest spike in more than a year.
Yikes. And that goes to the question I was putting to the Premier, and not trying to be a smart aleck here, but just saying against numbers like that.
But are they? He can't answer that.
What are the eligible local government areas in Victoria that would be able to come to SA?
Is it all of them?
Well,
is it none of them?
As he said,
doesn't know.
Well, because National Cabinet hasn't worked it out yet. Is it 3 cases?
Which
is
actually,
it 10
frankly,
cases?
makes it a pretty extraordinary claim to say borders will be open by Christmas, when the criteria for...
We hope borders will be open by Christmas.
But without knowing what the criteria are.
Yeah. Let's wait and see.
It's
it's a movable feast. And
we hope to make the grand final next year, but we don't know what league we're in.
We're not trying to prick holes in it, but...
Oh, no, I hope it's the case.
So do I. 100% hope it's the case.
But... all right, let's check on the fuel situation. Just been handed some information on that front, thanks to Glenelg BMW. They're now open on Brighton Road. Drop it and see Adelaide's newest home for BMW. In the eastern suburbs, petrol's around the low to mid $40s. The Blackwood Belair area sees petrol sitting in the high $40s. Down south, you're going to look in the high $30 range. The mobile petrol station on Grange Road in Welland is the station pick of the day. That one is $1.32 per litre.
At Coles, we're helping lower the cost of your weekly shop with great fresh offers. Like in-season Australian blueberries, 125-gram punnet, 2 for just $5. Helping lower the cost of your weekly shop. Coles, value the Australian way. Offer ends Thursday.
Spring into a new kitchen with You Install It Spring Sale and get up to 25% off cabinets this month only. Stop dreaming and start renovating. Custom-sized and pre-assembled cabinetry means big savings without compromising on quality and style. Do it now. Plan your perfect kitchen with our 3D design planner online. Search You Install It or visit our showrooms at Modbury, Glandore, Norwood, Lonsdale and Churchill Centre. You Install It Kitchens, the complete DIY kitchen solution. Conditions apply.
If you're looking into a new bathroom or kitchen reno, of course you want the outcome to be spectacular, but what you don't want is a bunch of stumbling blocks along the way, including broken promises.
Well, Will, if you do want the outcome to be spectacular, there's only one thing to do, and that is pick up the phone and call Coxie and the gang at Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens. They never make a promise they can't keep, and for whatever reason, if there's a delay or something's not going to plan, you're not going to find out by accident. Coxie are one of the folks. They'll be on the phone to you quick, smart, with a solution.
That's right. It's all about the journey. Coxie and the entire team, they go to extraordinary lengths to ensure the whole process is trouble-free. So start your journey to a stunning and worry-free home renovation with Buy Urban Bathrooms, Kitchens, Flooring and Shutters, Adelaide's home renovation experts. Visit buyurban.com.au.
G'day, I'm Lucky from Nutrimate, and I love my Nutrimate dog rolls because I'm helping local industry as they're made and owned in Australia. They also have added omega-3 to keep my coat beautiful, thiamine and taurine for my eyesight and muscles, and a great firm texture to keep my teeth and gums healthy. So get some Nutrimate into your furry mate. They'll love it. 3 great varieties of Nutrimate dog rolls. Now in your local Foodland, Drakes and IGA.
Kickstart your service expectations into high gear with North Point Toyota's new and improved express maintenance service bays. 2 highly trained North Point Toyota service technicians are deployed in a pit crew approach to ensure your vehicle receives a rapid and accurate service. Time's valuable, so make your booking at a time that's convenient to you. Then sit back and wait on their comfortable lounges. It's the North Point way. Hillcrest, Prospect, Port Augusta or northpointtoyota.com.au.
Oscar, Penny, Hercules, Horatio.
If dogs are a part of your family, you'll want to keep your family protected.
Jasmine, Jenny, Harley.
Simparica Trio gives dogs fast and effective protection from fleas and ticks, deadly heartworm and intestinal worms. A simple monthly chew that keeps your dog safe from deadly parasites inside and out.
Who wants to go for a walk?
So if you're a dog person, you'll want Simparica Trio. Protection from fleas, ticks, intestinal worms and heartworm.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
29 minutes after 8.
Got a text via Lucy from the Premier's office saying that they have asked SA Health about this Loretto case. They've confirmed that she's had her exemption granted, but we don't know what her quarantine requirements will be yet, as we don't know what the situation will be in 4 weeks, but she absolutely can go home. That's not my understanding at all. It's not the understanding of the Loretto College principal, who the Premier's office should actually ring about this, because I spent a good 10 minutes on the phone to her on Thursday. This is Nicole Archard, who has a completely different reading. There's a completely convoluted plan at the moment where apparently she can be picked up at some fruit fly quarantine post near Peterborough, but then the family would be required to isolate. Then when she went home to New South Wales, she'd then be sent back after doing the October school holidays in far western New South Wales. And then when she comes back to Adelaide, they'd force her to have no contact with anybody else for a fortnight and self-isolate and do school remotely in the boarding house without her parents. 12-year-old girl. It hasn't been fixed at all. Ring the college. You can't spin your way out of this nonsense. Like, it's just the family, the principal, are completely in the dark. There's not been a common sense approach taken in this case whatsoever.
Still continues to be big issues at Fulham Road, Mitcham this morning with the burst water main that created a couple of sinkholes. Chatting with SAPOL a little bit earlier, they say it'll take days at best for that intersection to be back operating. It's closed at the moment. A few people on Twitter have been asking about access to Mercedes College. The SAPOL have advised it's only available via Carrick Hill Drive or Delamere Avenue at the moment, but that one's going to be a major one. They may have to rebuild the intersection, such is the extent of the damage, but we'll follow that story for you on 5AA Breakfast. It's 5AA News Time. David Koch coming up shortly, and your chance to win AFL Grand Final tickets.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 17 with the 8:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Peak hour hit too hard? For an RAA approved crash repair, contact Premier Panel Services.
Repairs on a burst water main in Mitcham could take most of the week. The intersection of Fullerton Road and Carrick Hill Drive may need to be completely rebuilt after the pipes ruptured around 3 this morning. Mike Lorigan from 9 News says it's causing headaches for the morning commute, and a number of local properties have also been damaged.
Just right out the front of the entrance of Mercedes College, there was been significant damage to the intersection. Residents heard running water. They've come outside and they've just seen water coming up from underneath the intersection.
The COVID vaccine's being made available to children over the age of 12 from today. More from Nine's Michael Packy.
Parents will be able to book a vaccine appointment for their kids following a decision by Australia's drug regulator, an expert immunisation panel, to approve the COVID jab for young people. The Delta variant of the virus has been particularly prevalent in children, with some requiring hospitalisation. The health agencies argue the benefits of vaccination outweigh the risks. Those aged 12 years and over will have access to the high-tech FIVEaa and Moderna formulas.
Victoria has recorded 473 new COVID cases in the past 24 hours. It's the state's highest daily tally since the latest outbreak began. Statewide COVID lockouts could be a thing of the past once we get to double-dose 80% vaccination across SA. The Premier's committed to a national plan to open borders and end statewide lockdowns, hopefully before the end of the year. Stephen Marshall's told 5AA Breakfast. In the future, lockouts are likely to be more based on local government areas or exposure sites.
We're not going to do anything to put our state into danger whatsoever, but we do need to manage this transition. We do need to live with this disease. We can't do that until we get to a much higher vaccination rate than we're at the moment.
And more great state vouchers will be up for grabs this morning. This round's aimed at experiences and tours with discounts of up to $200. SA Tourism Chief Rod Harrick says the ballot opens at 9.
You go on to southaustralia.com, you register. It's open until the 15th at 5 p.m. and then the ballot draw will happen on the 16th and people will be notified immediately if they're successful.
Round 6 will be released next week with accommodation vouchers on offer. A man's in hospital after plunging 20 metres down a waterfall at Mannum yesterday. He slipped and fell at the upper waterfall on Cascade Road. The 34-year-old was winched to safety by the MedStar helicopter before being taken to the RAH. And a woman has been reported after a pursuit in the western suburbs last night. A black Holden was spotted driving on its rims through the heart of Port Adelaide. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says it was pursued by police.
Finally stopped on Victoria Road at North Haven. But that driver's a 40-year-old woman from Grange. She's been reported for a number of traffic offences, including driving dangerously to escape police pursuit. She'll be summoned to appear in court at a later date, but also detained to undergo a mental health assessment.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Save up to 15% on selected Asco cooking appliances at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. A gracious Daniil Medvedev has hailed Novak Djokovic as the greatest player the game has seen following their US Open final in New York. Medvedev denied Djokovic the chance to claim the calendar slam and a record-breaking 21st Grand Slam title after beating the world number one in straight sets. Medvedev, though, full of praise for his opponent post-match.
What you accomplished this year and throughout your career, I never said this to anybody, but I'll say it right now. For me, you are the greatest tennis player in the history.
A big compliment, that audio thanks to ESPN. Earlier, Sam Stosur won her 4th Grand Slam doubles title after a hard-fought 3-set win with China's Zhang Shui. That was against American duo Coco Gauff and Katie McNally.
And there is the championship for Stosur and Zhang.
Today, the AFL will make a final ruling on whether a clash jumper is required for the Bulldogs for the grand final against Melbourne on Saturday week. Meantime, the fallout will begin at Alberton following Port Adelaide's disappointing finish to the season after going down by a whopping 71 points to the Dogs in the prelim final. Aussie Daniel Ricciardo has put a frustrating year to one side to claim the Italian Grand Prix overnight. Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen crashed out early in the race. Liverpool's strong start to the EPL season's continued following a 3-0 win against Leeds. And the Wallabies have claimed a much-needed win in the Rugby Championship thanks to a penalty goal after the full-time siren to beat South Africa 28-26. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Is your BMW due for a service? Then book your service today at Glenelg BMW on Brighton Road.
At Melrose Park, got urgent electrical works after an earlier collision. That's Dawes Road near South Road. Mitcham got a burst water main Fullerton Road. That's closed both directions between Albert and Kitchener. Take Blythewood Road to avoid delays. And Crowford's all lanes now open heading into the city. Just got the left-hand lane closed on the up track. Speeds down to 60. With triple action technology to repair repair, thicken and green up your lawn, start spring with Munn's Professional Golf Course Green. Search for Munn's Professional Fertilisers today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Head to Foodland, Drake's or IGA for Nutrimate, a new dog roll loaded with healthy nutrients.
Partly cloudy and 17 today, the same tomorrow, more of the same on Wednesday 21 and warmer on Thursday up to 26. At the moment 11. More news as it happens on 5AA.
For verandas, sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes to 9 behind closed doors coming up this half hour. The host of Channel 7 Sunrise program, David Koch, as well. We'll obviously be talking to him a lot about the Port Adelaide Flameout in the prelim final on Saturday night. Future of the club. A lot of questions coming in from listeners as well. If you've got one for him, we'll happily put it to him on the Telstra Stormont Barker text line 0448 08 13 95. Big happy birthday to Governor Flash. Marjorie Jackson Nelson is her 90th birthday, the 33rd Governor of SA, 2001 to 2007. Born in Coffs Harbour back in 1931. Big year of 90th birthdays among celebrities. James Earl Jones, of course, might lay claim to having the most famous voice in the world.
Darth Vader.
William Shatner.
Oh, yeah, another famous voice.
Very famous voice, turned 90 this year. Barbara Eden from I Dream of Jeannie.
Barbara Eden. Be still my foolish heart.
Willie Mays, the oldest living baseball Hall of Famer in the United States.
My first crush as a lad was on Barbara Eden.
I thought you were going to say it was on Willie Mays.
No, more of a Barbara Eden guy.
I'm not a Sopranos. I didn't watch The Sopranos. Dominic Chianese or Chianese?
Chianese.
I'm guessing it'd be Chianese. CH would be a sound, but I'm not sure. And Desmond Tutu turned 90 this year as well.
Desmond Tutu.
Big year.
The late Desmond Tutu?
Oh, we
double check
we do all this time. I think
him the Bill Lorry treatment.
Live speculation about people's living status is a specialty on this show.
What was the really bad one a few weeks ago? Juan Antonio Samaranch.
That's right.
I'm pretty sure.
20 minutes.
No. Desmond Tutu still kicking.
Still going.
Yep. Happy birthday.
He's still okay?
Yep. That's good news. Good news.
All right. Well, that is some good news.
Sorry if I caused any concern. If any of his relatives were listening.
All right. Well,
hey, lovely text from Andrew in Rosedale. You remember we had the on-air chat. He was a vaccine-hesitant fellow. In fact, he was actually dead against it. And we had an on-air discussion. We should meet up and have a beer one of these days, Andrew. He's just texted in saying, hey, I've booked my Pfizer for the Savo. I would have preferred AZ, but it's easier to get in for Pfizer. And if I, a healthy person, die in the next couple of days, I hope you report it properly.
Absolutely.
Mate, you'll be right. And let's have that beer at some point.
All right. Let's give away some grand final tickets. Friday this week, we announced the winner. We just need you to call in at 8223 0000. Here they come. Just takes a couple of seconds and then bang, we're underway. Greg, good morning to you, Greg. Where are you, mate?
Greg from West Croydon.
Good on you, Greg from West Croydon. Basil, where are you calling us from?
Basil.
From Salisbury.
Basil and Salisbury, you're in the running to win the grand final tickets. David, good morning. Where are you?
Greenwith.
Good on you, David.
Greenwith.
David in Greenwith. Scott, where are you, mate?
Happy Valley, mate.
Okay, good on you, Scott. Thank you very much. Let's put Brooke into the draw. Where are you calling from, Brooke?
Modbury Heights.
Modbury Heights.
Modbury Heights.
Fantastic. Belinda's also managed to call through at about the halfway mark of the Bonanza. Where are you calling from, Belinda?
I'm calling from Trop Park.
Magnificent. Is it cold in Trop Park this morning, Belinda?
Freezing.
Yeah, I think it's cold everywhere this morning. Shane is in Brooklyn Park. Shane, who are you going from the grand final?
I think I'll go for Melbourne. Simon Goodwin factor.
Yeah, there's a few people that are going for Melbourne coming through in the Bonanza competition. Mark, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Hallett Cove.
Thank you, Mark. Nice part of Adelaide, down south there. Jane, good morning. Where are you calling from?
Good morning, boys. I'm calling from Norwood.
Jane's calling from Nord. We heard property prices in Nord doubled in 18 months. Price per square inch anyway. Square metre. Joe, good morning. Where are you calling from?
Oh, Mayland.
Thank you very much, Joe. Magnificent work. J to J. Joy is on the line. Morning to you, Joy.
Hi, Joy from Highbury.
Thank you, Joy from
Great
Highbury.
work, Joy.
That was magnificent. Kirsten is on the line. Morning, Kirsten.
Morning to you both from Stepney.
Kirsten in Stepney.
Stepney. I reckon we can squeeze at least one more in. Tab, good morning.
Good morning.
Where are you, Tab?
I'm at Kapunda.
Kapunda.
Tab in Kapunda rounds out the morning for us with the David and Will's Grand Final Bonanza. Put a stack more in the running there.
13.
13 more in the running there.
10 in the first two, 13 in that one. Greg, can't read my own writing. Greg, Basil, David, Scott, Brooke, Belinda, Shane, Mark, Jane, Joe, Joy, Kirsten and Tab.
Magnificent work.
Just 1 calorie. That was the ad.
Yeah, that's right. We will have 3 more opportunities tomorrow morning to put you in the running to win that Bonanza Grand Final experience. Just hear the music and call in. It's as simple as that. And get as many people as you know to call in and do likewise. Because you could be going along. What a wonderful way to spend a weekend over there in WA, enjoying the AFL Grand Final with flights and accommodation all taken care of. You just need to be there. You just need to get yourself to the airport. And from that point on, you have got the weekend of a lifetime. Tomorrow morning, more chances to win. Let's check traffic. Glenelg BMW now open on Brighton Road. Drop in and see Adelaide's newest home for BMW.
At Hindmarsh, got a 2-car collision, Grange Road near South Road. Another 2-car collision, this one's at Largs Bay. It's on Victoria Road near Jetty Road. Melrose Park, electrical works after an earlier collision, that's Dawes Road near South Road. And Mitcham this morning, a burst water main, Fullerton Road, that's closed both directions between Albert and Kitchener. Take Blythewood Road to avoid delays this morning. Look out for a camera too, South Terrace, Apparaka. The Suicide Squad starring our very own Margot Robbie. This is the epic supervillain film of the year. Fast track from cinemas to your home. The Suicide Squad, new to buy or rent on digital now. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Amy has always helped Australians get back on the road. But now more than ever, it's vital those on the front line get to where they need to be. That's why we're offering free roadside assist to first responders, hospital staff and COVID healthcare workers Australia-wide until the end of the year. Amy and non-Amy customers, supporting those who are supporting us. To take advantage of this offer, visit amy.com.au. T's and C's and eligibility criteria apply for Amy Temporary Roadside Assist and this offer. Go to amy.com.au for more details.
It's incredible. Over 50% of tickets in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery have already been sold. Don't miss your chance to join the fight and win big. The $3 million grand prize is a fully furnished Scott Salisbury home on the Esplanade with $500,000 in the bank. You'll have no mortgage and no worries. Tickets won't last long. Get yours today at homelottery.com.au. Thank you for your support. Licence M14053.
Hi there, I'm Matt, a Specsavers optometrist. Did you know that every Specsavers is locally owned and operated by an optometrist just like me? We believe eye tests should reveal more, not cost more, which is why we include an OCT advanced 3D eye scan with every eye test at no extra charge. Does your optometrist? Experience the Specsavers difference and book your eye test today. We're here to look after your eye health and keep you safe in store. Visit specsavers.com.au.
At Terry White Kmart, get real deals on your favourite brands, like up to 35% off RRP on Telfast and QV selected ranges. Plus, visit in store for more details on their cashback offers. Real value every day at Terry White Kmart. Sale ends September 28, 2021, while stocks last. T's and C's apply. See in store for details.
The new Kia Niro hybrid SUV has landed. It combines a smooth and efficient blend of petrol and electric power without the need for external charging. It's a no-compromise SUV with outstanding fuel economy, low emissions, tons of comfort, and impressive versatility. The new Kia Niro hybrid SUV, available for immediate delivery. Check with your local Kia dealer for details.
Kia. Movement that inspires.
At Coles, we're helping lower the cost of your weekly shop with great fresh offers. Like in-season Australian blueberries, 125-gram punnet, 2 for just $5. Helping lower the cost of your weekly shop. Coles. Value the Australian way. Offer ends Thursday.
Now, grab your best mates and these great rates, then get ready, save and go to the NT now with Mates Rates packages. You can save $1,000 per person.
Packages start from just $3.99 a person for a 3-night Alice Springs and Uluru getaway to complete Red Centre holidays, including Kings Canyon, Catajuda, West MacDonnell Ranges and more.
The Red Centre is wide open and it's ready, save, go to the NT now. Book now and travel to April 2022.
But it's your last chance. This sale finishes at the end of the month. If you've been thinking about visiting Central Australia, now is the time to do it.
Search NT Now, book online at ntnow.com.au or call 1800 854 897.
you can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
30 minutes to 9. The host of Channel 7 Sunrise program, David Koch, joins us on a Monday morning where I imagine he'd rather be doing anything else, frankly. But we had our Alberton correspondent Dave Lloyd on earlier, Koshy, to speak on behalf of the Power Faithful. He fronted up manfully, as have you. Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, guys. A tough weekend and a lot of us hurting over the weekend. Really emotional in the aftermath. Sort of disappointed, shattered, embarrassed with the way we played. Sort of really owe our members an apology for what happened on Saturday night. We didn't play the Port Adelaide way. We all saw that, and sort of, 3 weeks earlier, 2 weeks earlier, we were playing the Port Adelaide way. The change just has blindsided us, but we take responsibility as a whole organisation for that. It's the board, the playing group, the coaching group. We're an organisation that shares the good times and also shares the bad times as well. And, my dearest sort of belief is that that this galvanises us and shocks us, that, we've just got to keep doing better. And I do feel a bit for the playing group, because even though, quite rightly, we're shocked and we're embarrassed with their performance, that game could define their season when, our win-loss record this year was the best since 2004. It is our second final we've got into. We're showing we can consistently play finals and give us the best shot, but we've just got to toughen up and get over that final hurdle. Last year we were gallant. This year we're embarrassing, and we've got to use that as motivation. It's as simple as that. We're not hiding from it at all.
As the boss, Koshy, how do you deal with the heads must roll factor? Clearly, in the heat of the moment after the game, a lot of people out there, and a lot of it was aimed at the coach. Yep. Is Ken Hinkley safe?
Look, he has the best win-loss record of any Port Adelaide coach. This year was the best win-loss record since 2004. We had a shocker on Saturday night, not walking away from that. But the foundation that Kenny has built, that the team that he has built, is applauded right throughout the industry. And I know, my job is to sort of get through the emotion without making any decisions at all, and look at the facts and look at the data. And the facts of the data is that we've had, apart from this game on Saturday night, which is devastating, as I said, don't think people aren't hurting about this. The emotion in the change rooms after was palpable, apparently. I was watching on TV like a lot of people. But where we've come from, we've got to keep building on that. And overall, we're there. I'd rather be the man in the arena and hopefully experiencing the joy, but with joy along the route comes disappointment, than not being in the arena. 2 preliminaries in a row we're a good team, we're a good squad, we're young, we're building. There's a lot to look forward to. As I say, that is no excuse and not wallpapering over what happened on Saturday night. You know, I'm as embarrassed as anybody. And we've got to do better. We've got to, you know, my challenge to the playing group is with a lot of sides, this could be so scarring they fall off a cliff. We've got to use it to galvanise us that we're not soft, because we did play soft. We didn't play the Port Adelaide way. And we've got to use it to galvanise us to get us over this hump.
You said the team's young and developing, Koshy. Do you sort of then reject the assessment that maybe with this squad and coaching panel as constructed, the ceiling is the prelim final, and that there is a need for change? You run it back. No. You run it back next year, and there'll be enough natural development to get you beyond that hurdle.
Oh, and we've got to get better. And I think there is a lot more natural development to go. You know, you look at our younger players were so quiet on Saturday night. We have, you know, which really gets under the skin of a Port Adelaide supporter, and me and everyone is, you know, to see people pull out of some contests, which 2 weeks before, it was frantic. We're being dubbed the best pressure team in the competition, and it's hard to fathom how we could change so much in just 2 or 3 weeks. And whether it's, you know, there have been great Port Adelaide teams in the past that have been accused of choking, and one very famous image after we achieved ultimate success. That's what we have to focus on as a club. We've got to get through this and use it to galvanise us. And I have absolutely no doubt we will do that. Absolutely no doubt that we'll galvanise and get through it.
I've got to say, Koshy, you deserve massive credit for your honesty. You also deserve credit for keeping your sense of humour. That photograph of you lying on the floor of your living room Saturday night holding the bottle of Shaw and Smith Shiraz was terrific.
Yeah, that was a couple of weeks ago. That was.
Oh, I thought. Did you retweet it Saturday night, or did somebody else dig it out?
No, someone else must have retweeted that because.
So the caption should have been "in happier times."
Yeah, that was was after the round 23 game against the Bulldogs, where we got up and won by 2 points, 3 points. So it is. There was no no sense of having a sense of humour Saturday night after the game. Let me tell you,
No, well,
I've been working through all that at the moment, like all Port Adelaide members and fans.
Your message, though, clearly is stay the course, Port fans.
Oh, absolutely. We've been on this journey. You know, a couple of years ago, it was getting us out of the what I called the death zone of the competition of between 9th and 10th, and we had a couple of seasons there. We've got to get through this. How do we get through this last hurdle to a grand final? We've got 2 years of experience. We've got 2 years of understanding and data. We will be working out, the whole organisation, working our backside off to get through this hurdle, and I've got no doubt we will, because that's the Port Adelaide way.
Koshy, good on you. Thank you so much for coming on. And last thing you want to talk about when something like this has happened, and we appreciate that you still soldiered on valiantly.
We've got a front up. No, you got to front up and accept what's happened, and then bloody well do something about it.
100%.
And we will.
100%. Good on you, Dave. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Oh, just hearing the tone in his voice, it takes you back to when things have gone to what on our side of the football divide here, and it's just the worst bloody feeling in the world, isn't it? I don't know why it's the worst feeling in the world, but it's a uniquely horrible feeling, isn't it?
Well, you're helpless, and you were so hopeful, and it's as much the fact that something so good was taken away from you than it is anything else. Than it is the pain of the moment. The expectation that the next 2 weeks of your life were going to be about the grand final, and that maybe 2 weeks, that a couple of days after that, you're going to have a memory that would last you the rest of your life, something that will make you happy that whenever you close your eyes and think about it, it's not to be.
I can remember sitting in the car on my own in the Blue Mountains in whatever year it would have been. I was up there with some mates living in Sydney and went away for the weekend, but it was the weekend of the Crows West Coast, one of the two Crows West Coast prelims that we lost. Would have been 05 when Craig was coach. And just hearing, because it wasn't on TV in Sydney, and just sitting there in the car, and then I had to walk back into this house where everyone was just drinking beer and having a good time. None of them followed AFL. I walked in there and went, God, mate, are you all right? I'm like, no, I'm, to quote Marcellus Wallace, I'm pretty far from okay. Pretty far from okay.
The challenge now is the one that's been trodden by sporting teams of all persuasion. It feels always like a knife-edge moment where it really tests your capacity to make an assessment about your playing group and where they're headed, because we've seen countless teams in the past that have said, we need to change something to get over the hump. We think we've got 90% of a premiership winner, whatever sport it is you follow. We need to tweak that last few percent. We've seen them tweak it and it goes to hell. We've seen them tweak it and stuff it up.
Well,
Similarly,
the Crows spent 3 years talking about their camp.
Exactly right. Similarly, history is laden with teams who said, no, we're good. We just need to stay the course.
One of them's Port Adelaide.
That's right. And
04.
You stay the course, but I'm saying no. Sides that have stayed the course and realised that no, they've summited, they've peaked. That they're without change, there was no good coming. And there is just no hard and fast science about how you approach. And frankly, that's why these guys get paid the big bucks. So that's the challenge from this point on. Leon Biner's coming up. We're out of time on this Monday morning, and we'll catch you tomorrow morning from 6.
When you've been around for over a century, you know a thing or two. And business